Do you love the Tabernacle Choir? This year, the choir's music is everywhere you are. Listen to your favorite choir songs and music and the spoken word anytime you want on Alexa by simply enabling the skill.
Alexa, play music in the spoken word.
Now playing music in the spoken word.
You can also download the Tabernacle Choir app, subscribe to the choir on YouTube, listen on Spotify, and have access to all their wonderful music. Happy listening.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Just top.
We're all locked in now.
Your home for the best sports radio in Utah is right here on the KSL Sports Zone. It's time to kick off your afternoon drive with Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
Allow me to introduce the best of the best.
On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. It's never a non-spicy day in the NBA. It would seem, Ben. Yeah, thanks for listening, however you may be doing so over the air, streaming, KSLSports.com, the KSL Sports app. Maybe you were watching the show on YouTube or KSLSports.com, or maybe you're one of our great friends from the future taking in the show via podcast. We appreciate you doing so. Especially on the big news days, because the great part about being live and local all day is when the news hits, we're not taking a break to talk about what's the Jets' offseason look like this year.
Yeah.
So that's kind of nice.
Real intel and kind of deep understanding of what's happening.
So let's dive right in.
All right.
Ben, we left the show yesterday with multiple options surrounding Walker Kessler and no idea what the time frame was going to be. Signs an offer sheet somewhere, the Jazz match, the Jazz don't match, and then we did talk about the possibility of a sign and trade.
Correct.
And lo and behold, that's exactly what happened. Sign and trade with the Jazz, where the Jazz pick up two unprotected first-round picks in, sorry, Ben, I should have it in front of me, 31 and 33, is that right?
Correct.
And then two draft swaps on the years in between.
28 and 30.
Oh, so
So
not
actually
quite.
before.
Apologize.
Yeah.
Fake news. I'm dying to hear your thoughts. I know you've been going at it on the Talk Snap all day, but what do you think of the outcome for the Jazz and curious for the Lakers for that matter?
Rare lose-lose trade. The Jazz are worse today than they were yesterday. The Jazz are not better without Walker Kessler. Walker fits particularly well next to Jaren Jackson Jr. Jaren has weaknesses to his game. He is not a rebounder. That's probably what Walker's actually best at. I know the 2.4 blocks or whatever is like a nice number. Walker's a very good rebounder. Mm-hmm. He fixes that problem with Jaren really well. And then if he's your secondary rim protector or shot blocker or whatever next to Jaren, that's really good for Walker also. So you lost that. And he's only 24 years old, so there's some real room to grow, which is why the Jazz were offering him a 5-year deal. The Jazz are worse today. And the Jazz made a trade for Jaren Jackson Jr. to get better, to ideally compete for the playoffs, to ideally hope to start competing this season. And that got a little less likely. I don't think they were competing for a championship this year, but that is less likely that they are competing for a playoff spot this year than it would have been had they had Walker. And in fact, on the flip side of that, the Lakers got better today. The Lakers are one of those 6 best teams in the West now that are going to take one of these playoff spots, and I don't know if that was the case, in all honesty, until they addressed their center position, and it just so happened to come from the Jazz. So the Lakers got better, the Jazz got worse. That's the loss for the Jazz. The loss for the Lakers is that this is not a championship team, and they have no way of making it a championship team, and they've just settled at a pretty good team, and they've used up all their assets to get there, with no real way, I don't think, I could be wrong, but no real way of getting to the highest ceiling in the Western Conference. Like, they are not better than the Oklahoma City Thunder. They're not better than the San Antonio Spurs. They might not be better than a couple of other teams in the West, depending on how the rest of the offseason shakes out. That's really, really weird to me. Mm-hmm. That's a weird thing for your big three to be Luka, who I have said is a legit 1A, Austin Reeves, who's very flawed but good, and Walker Kessler, who's flawed but good. It's a weird big three. In a league that is not really favoring big threes anymore, it's favoring good sevens. 7 really good players versus 3 great players. And the Lakers don't even have 3 great players.
I do agree with your take that the Jazz are not better today as they were yesterday. Not better today than they were yesterday. Excuse me. As much as you and I both think that Jackson Hayes is just
superstar,
just special.
Jazz got a beast.
He's just a special player. But
that's the other piece of news, by the way. If people haven't seen that, the Jazz have signed Jackson Hayes.
2 years, $12 million.
What's the AAV? Do you think it's 6 or do you think it's 12? We think it's 6, right?
The per year? Is that what you're talking about?
It's
per year?
It's PY.
Per year? I don't know. Nor do I care. They have a team next year is a team option. Yeah. So it's really a 1 year type of deal. Mm-hmm. So I am not arguing with that. We'll see what else they do before I make some pronouncement about whether or not they will make the playoffs. All the points you make I think are relevant. But I was using a comparison with Christian before the show because I honestly, and I think it's brilliant. And I'm not trying to honk out here. Okay. I think it's brilliant.
I'm curious to hear.
Keep in mind that the Jazz were not coming into this situation. It was not ideal. Having Walker hit free agency as a restricted free agent was not ideal. Ideal was he got wrapped up with a team-friendly deal last year before any of this water went under the bridge. But it did. Mm-hmm. And we don't know what the Jazz were talking to him about last year. We have no idea. We had this debate yesterday. Mistake, not a mistake. I don't really know. But they were not in the ideal position for the Utah Jazz. They did, however, have the upper hand because of the rules, because they can match anything. Uh-huh. So the Lakers, as we know, are desperate, and I think Rob Pelinka might be a little dim, and we can get to other evidence of that.
There's only 10 years of that evidence
coming up. Yeah,
including Anthony Davis openly mocking him today on social media.
Oh, did he really? Uh-huh. I did not see that.
Yeah.
But Ben, Christian drives a fine car.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you're about to use a car metaphor. I use the same one on my podcast, so let's hear it.
Christian drives a fine car. I wouldn't call it advantageous, but it's fine.
Uh-huh.
If somebody pulled up to Christian on the street and said, "I'll give you $20,000 for that car right now,"
this is the exact metaphor I use. This is great.
And Christian goes, "Well, yeah."
Sure.
And the guy goes, "You're going to have to take the bus home or something." Christian's going to say, "Well, yeah, give me the $20,000."
Okay.
Hand it over. Yeah, I'll get a bus pass. I'll call my wife. I don't care. It's going to take some time for you to go find a different guy. Yeah. Just give me the $20,000 and I'll figure out the rest. For the Lakers to pay 2 first-rounders unprotected and 2 swaps for a guy that they had to for the pleasure of overpaying a player.
For going over market for a player.
For the pleasure of overpaying a player is laughable. So the Jazz are a little better off or worse on paper as a roster. Check. But did they overpay the wrong guy?
No.
No, they did not.
Which we have learned today is maybe the single worst thing you can do in the NBA.
By overpaying the wrong guy. And they did not. Now, the Jazz probably, I'm guessing, offered what they were comfortable offering, or probably pretty close in the 28-29. And honestly, probably didn't want to go much higher. That said, Ben, you wonder why you look at the number. You go 32.5 AAV.
I love adding a new bit.
I mean, come on, that's so little. It's so little. Think about this. Think about how do you get that? How do you get the dude to offer you $20,000 for your Mazda? How do you get that? If you tell the Lakers, listen, you can get your guy, and it can cost you $41 million. It can cost you $38 million. It can cost you $39 million. We'll lower our bar.
Yeah.
We'll lower our matching bar
Correct.
But you've got to make it worth the while. So the Jazz number was probably 28-29 with what they were comfortable. Lord knows what they were willing to go up to. Like if push came to shove, what they were willing to. But if the Lakers give them a sweetheart deal, they'll lower their number, sign Walker for 32.5, which is still way too much, and give us the haul. How do you get the guy with the $20,000 to pull over? You got to make it attractive. And I guarantee that's the leverage that they played. Listen, we'll match up to 39. Good luck. Keep going up. We'll come down if you want to do a sign and trade, and we'll take all those picks. I think it's honestly brilliant in a way, too, that Walker, the center position, now it might not seem like it now, but is more replaceable than other positions, to find a rim protector and a rebounder, maybe not immediately, but you can go and find one of those. And that was the other part of the leverage, Ben. One of these two teams was going to go into a season without a center. One of these two teams was going to bite the bullet and go into this season basically without a center. And the Jazz have more stomach for the game than the Lakers do. They weren't going to let Luka down and go into this season without a center. They weren't going to do it. The Jazz, yeah, whatever. We're starting to turn the corner. People will understand. We'll plug something in at the center at some point. They just played an entire season intentionally not having a center. I mean, who can have a little short-term pain tolerance for the long-term value? I mean, I really do. I like everything about this deal. Compared to losing Wes Matthews for nothing, restricted free agent losing for nothing, I don't know. I saw some negative feedback on the talk snap. I didn't get it. And I'm not even disagreeing with you because all the things you said about Walker are true. They are not as good today as they would have been if Walker Kessler was still on the team. I don't think that's doubtable. And you know what? Cheer for Walker. Hope he turns into a guy. Good luck. I hope he lives up to the contract. I really do, because it would suck not to. But you can't. Walker, he could be a stiff in 2 years, or he could be really good. There is no decided there. If he turns into a stiff, we're going to be looking back on today like, dude, they got 4 firsts basically for that guy.
The only thing I would change about what you said is there were 3 teams. It wasn't just the Jazz and the Lakers. It was also the Pistons. Let's just mix them into this group.
But
there was 2 centers and 3 teams. And who had the stomach to not have a center next year? It can't be the team that has Luka, and it can't be the team that just had the best record in the Eastern Conference.
Yep,
it can't be.
Nope.
It leaves the Jazz.
And he's close to a max player, so you could justify matching a max contract because he's more like Gordon Hayward, where it's like, yeah, he could be a max dude.
So
he was an all-star.
That's the only thing I would change about what you said.
I don't know how. Okay, I don't know how much I consider the Pistons because I don't think there's any way Duren leaves.
Very possible. Well, to the exact same point of what the Jazz said. You're exactly right. The Pistons said, there's not a number we won't match at. And the Jazz said, there's not a number we won't match at. But do you have any trade offers? And I don't know if the Pistons ever said, but do you have any trade offers? And the Jazz did.
See, I mean, I love the messaging side of it, but I do think there was a number the Jazz would have just let him go.
Maybe the Lakers decided, we would rather have Walker at $32 million minus 2 draft picks than Walker at $40 million with 2 draft picks. Simple. I mean, that was probably the gamble the Lakers made and the same gamble the Jazz made. Yeah. We would rather lose Walker at that number with 2 draft picks and swaps versus have Walker at $39 million. I mean, that was right. That's the deal. I mean, essentially, that was the agreement that the two sides made. And I think you're right. I bet you there was a huge offer that was higher than the $32 million that nobody really wanted to sign.
Right.
Everyone was happier to sign $32 million, and the Jazz were happy to get their picks back. Yeah, you're exactly right on that front.
I don't think Detroit is willing to lose Duren. I think the Jazz were willing to lose Walker, and that's why the Lakers.
That's why this is where we are today.
That's why they focus their attention, because they can get Walker. I don't think they can get Jalen. And as you pointed out yesterday, the timing is such that they had to pick one. There was no going after both. They had to pick one.
Now, clearly, it's not that easy to replace Walker Kessler, because if it was, the Lakers wouldn't have done everything they did to get Walker Kessler.
Well, the Jazz play a little differently, which makes that position different. But
you're right.
I understand what you're saying.
However, if I were to come to you, Jake, and say $32 million, 2 unprotected first-round picks, and 2 swaps in a trade, what would you imagine a team was getting back? It's not Walker Kessler.
No.
I mean, that's a That's a blockbuster.
Yeah, in a market where trade values have been plummeting.
Right.
Since Mikal Bridges moved from the Nets to the Knicks, trade values have been plummeting, which is why Walker was honestly still on the roster.
The Jazz gave up 2 unprotected picks for Jaren Jackson Jr. It's their own pick this year. Now the rule has since changed that can only be that can only be the 6th overall pick. So that actually hurt.
It's not going to be that
Memphis a little bit, and it's not going to be that pick anyways, I don't think. But it's basically now a top 5 protected pick to Memphis. The Suns unprotected first, which is a big asset in 2031 that the Jazz had acquired. That's a big piece. And then it's the Lakers' top 4 protected pick coming up this year. So the Jazz included 3 picks. 2 of them at the time were unprotected. Now it's really only 1 fully unprotected. The Jazz get that back. Jazz took on more money in salary than the Lakers did in Walker. You know, Jaren makes 45, Walker makes 32. Jazz also gave up a rookie in Walt Clayton, who was a first-round pick, and a former lottery pick in Taylor Hendricks. Like, the Jazz put together a really big package for Jaren Jackson Jr. I think they got back a little bit less in Walker, but like the gap between Walker as a player and Jaren as a player was seismic.
Yeah. Well, nor do they play the same position.
No, they don't.
And,
but quality of player is pretty seismic.
Oh, yeah, Jaren's way better.
And the Jazz gave up a little bit more in the Walker trade to get or in the Jaren trade to get a lot more than Walker.
No, I think these are the type of savvy moves that you can't pass up on. And you may really love the player, but you can't predict the future.
It's the car metaphor that you brought up. And I've told you the best piece of advice I've ever gotten in my life was from a random dude in line at AutoZone. And I was driving a Toyota Matrix at the time. And a guy behind me in line said, "Is that your Matrix?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Is your car for sale?" I said, "No." End of conversation. After I check out, another guy comes up to me and says, "Dude, your car's always for sale." I said, "What?" He said, "Your car is always..." You didn't ask him how much he wanted to sell you the car for. To your point, Christian drives a Maserati, not a Maserati. If someone's offering him $20K for the Maserati, it makes getting to work tomorrow harder. But he has $20,000 to solve that
he's
problem.
He's going to figure it out.
He can buy a lot of bus passes and then replace it with a better car.
Some mild inconvenience.
The Jazz
in the
sold the
term.
Maserati for $20,000 today. And that's exactly what happened.
And didn't trap themselves into a bad deal, honestly. I mean, the risk that you were going to have to purge talent to eventually make that contract fit or trade Kessler anyway was extremely high. So, I mean...
I don't know if I'd said this on the air. I can't remember all the things I've said versus what I've thought because I'm not that intelligent of a person. If the Jazz had paid Walker $30 million and are going to pay Keontae George $30 million, the clock was ticking on how long either Lowry Markkanen or Jaren Jackson Jr. was going to be in Utah.
Right.
The clock that you had flipped the little sand timer, the hourglass. You flipped it, and it was running out. You don't flip anything now. It's easier to keep Keontae. It's way easier to keep Keontae. In fact, I'm curious if they try and
It'll
get a
be
deal
easier
down
to
this
keep
summer.
Ace, too, when the time comes.
And way easier to keep Lowry and Jaren. But you do have to find a center that can come in and replace some of what Walker gave you. Not all of it, probably, but some of it at a lower price. And that's got to be the goal now.
For now.
And
who knows how long for now is, even. I mean, I think, did you jump on with one of the shows earlier? Did you mention Miles Turner? I mean, something like that could easily happen.
Oh, like that? If the Cavs start out 14-14 this year, or 18-12, and are the 4th best team in the Eastern Conference, and say Evan Mobley and Jared Allen just aren't working, we got to split it up. Jazz say, "Do you want a future unprotected Lakers pick and some money?"
Because we like Jared Allen.
Because we like Jared Allen, and we actually need that guy really badly. And then you are still ideally plus a draft pick from the Lakers and have a commensurate player.
Jared Allen at $20 million.
Correct. Like
that's pretty good.
This is a terrible market to be buying a center. One of the worst I've ever seen.
But honestly, and I know Jazz fans are dying to be competitive, but this does not change the direction. The Jazz are not going to all of a sudden start booting games again because they're so forlorn. This is just a little interruption. They have to figure out a different direction at one particular position. So, and they weren't in that advantageous of position to begin with. So yesterday they were being held hostage by their center who was a restricted free agent. Today, that problem is over. They have a bunch of extra assets in their pocket, and now they're figuring out how to replace them in the short and long term. I mean, that's the game in the NBA. This is the game.
Correct. And another thing that's available to the Jazz now that was not yesterday is like we were just talking about, like $32 million plus 2 unprotected picks plus pick swaps is what the Jazz got for Walker. It's a lot. It's a lot that the Jazz got.
People are really valuing those swaps too these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's no protections on them. That's where the real value is for the Jazz. Like what the Jazz also have now that they didn't have yesterday is like there's a package you could put together that is Lowry, Markkanen, and 2 protected on first. Like what player in the NBA can't you get?
Right.
For Lowry, Markkanen, and 2 future unprotected firsts in the 2030s that aren't your own picks? Like that's the like galaxy brain move now for the Jazz that is available today that I'm not betting on them making, but is available to them to make when the next superstar becomes available. That's now at the Jazz's disposal without dipping into their asset treasure trove or being at a negative asset count. They have 10 first-round draft picks between now and 2033. That's plus 3, if you go year by year, plus control over all their own except for next year. So Jazz are in a really good spot still to continue to build the team, even if today I think they're a worse basketball team than they were yesterday.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're willing to take the bus home? You're willing to go into the year without a center? For that? Sure.
But don't die with money.
Well, we'll see because criticism of Danny Ainge, and Austin is not Danny, of course, was that he held on to all those assets that he got in Boston for too long, right? There were players like Jimmy Butler who were available, and he kind of didn't pony up what he could have, right?
Correct.
So, yeah, that's the delicate line.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the delicate dance that you have. But I'm telling you, what you don't want to do is overpay for a guy. You don't want to sign a contract that you're going to regret 6 months later. And that might be what happens with Walker. Again, I'm cheering for him. I hope everybody's talking about what a great value
but
it is.
But if you tell me he's more Jakob Poeltl,
right,
than he is who's the center that's not Jokic, that's not Wemby, that's not Joel Embiid, that's like the 7th best center in the NBA.
Rudy.
Great pick. Great choice. If he's more Poeltl than Rudy, this is one of the worst trades in NBA history.
Yeah. And there's a chance he's Poeltl.
There's a chance he's Poeltl.
Yeah,
there's a chance he ends up being Rudy. Playing next to Luka, he might be. Luka makes centers better. No
offensively, that's for sure.
That's for sure. He's got a lot of pressure on his shoulder, though, to fix that defense in L.A.
Well, yeah, because they can't sign anybody else. And if you want to talk about, here's my metaphor for what the Lakers did when they finally got LeBron off their team and got a little financial flexibility. I'm imagining what your average naval midshipman, I don't know, what happens when you hit port in Indonesia after being at sail for 8 months. Like, I just imagine what that next morning is going to be like, or would be like. That's Pelinka's tomorrow.
Yes.
After all this shotgun spending every penny in a dang day, LeBron comes off the roster, and they spend every nickel in the first day, which is pretty wild. And bring in a bunch of average players, and I don't know if it's going to work. That's the problem when you pay 3 players everything.
$150 million.
That's what you get. I mean, you want to. So LeBron won 2 championships in Miami, one at the beginning and one at the end. Lost the one at the beginning and the one at the end. He was in the finals all 4 years.
Yeah.
The 4th year, they ran up against just a superior San Antonio team who was really bent how they lost in the finals the year before. Mm-hmm. Do you remember who they lost to in year 1? Dallas, who was not the best NBA champion of all time. Let me just put it that way. Fine team, but far from a dominant team, right? Why did the Heatles lose? They paid LeBron and Bosh and D. Wade every nickel they could because they had to sign and trade for Bosh, but they signed LeBron outright. So they had no money left and had traded basically everything to get under the cap enough to get LeBron. Think the Super Cool Bees trade. They had, again, former Jazz man Carlos Arroyo was their starting point guard. I mean, they had nothing.
Correct.
Now, as it went forward, they could make a trade and go over the cap. They pick up Ray Allen. They signed vet minimum guys that actually helped them, like the Birdman, and they were able to build upon it. But that first year, you can't because you just spent all your room and everything on everybody
all
else.
Your flexibility.
And now the Lakers really can't do anything to make their roster better in the short term, and arguably in the long term by spending every pick you got. That's probably not great. But you know what I mean? The Lakers get a little, they're like, I got to town, I got a little money in my pocket.
Yeah.
Bam, let's make this happen.
How do you get off of bad contracts in the NBA?
You have to package picks.
Do the Lakers have picks?
They do not.
Is there a chance they have a bad contract? Either Walker's or Austin. By the way.
Or Luka's for that matter.
Or Luka's. And here's the thing. Bad contracts don't mean bad players. It means the wrong player paid the wrong money. It doesn't mean Walker's a bad player or Austin Reeves is a bad player. I might have said Austin Ainge. Austin Reeves is a bad player. But if he's the wrong player, then you have to find a way to move him or get off him. Now, I think you can probably move Austin Reeves, probably.
Well, let me amend that. It's not even necessarily the wrong player. It's the wrong player at the wrong price.
Exactly.
Like Austin Reeves, I don't think is the wrong player, probably for any team with his game, although he does stink at defense. Mm-hmm. But what's he at, 50?
He's at 45 or something.
$45 million? There's a chance he's the wrong guy. Like, oh, man, I don't think Rusty Westbrook has ever been the right guy. Bradley Beal could be the right guy for a lot of different situations. Bradley Beal on the Supermax? Nope.
Wrong guy.
Wrong guy.
Right.
Wrong guy. So it's the wrong guy at the wrong price, right guy at the wrong price. Any guy at the wrong price is going to screw you. Yeah. And that actually has been true for a long time and is even more true now with the second apron and first apron and all that punitive stuff. So is there a chance that Walker Kessler is the wrong guy at the wrong price? Yep. Big time.
Big time.
And he's not even that great of a rim roller either, by the way, which is what Luka wants. So we'll see. And he can't shoot free throws. And maybe he fixed that. I don't know. Great rebounder, though.
He does some things really well.
He gets pushed around. He's good at blocking shots for sure. Has great timing, like really natural on
both
that
hands,
on that front.
Does some stuff really well.
Once he figured out how to eat elbows, he turned into a really great rebounder. Mm-hmm. But is he the number 3 on a title team? Nope.
Jazz certainly didn't think so.
Well, not at that price.
Correct.
Not at that price.
Correct.
I believe the 28 to 29. I believe that number. I believe that's probably where the Jazz were comfortable going.
Yeah.
I believe they told the Lakers they'll go wherever. And then they bargained and got a great deal, which, fine. The Jazz want to, I hate it, Ben, hate it so much. Open the window, right?
Yeah.
They want to open a window for some time to come. Doesn't need to shut immediately because you paid the wrong guy.
Right.
Like Milwaukee, shut immediately because they made a trade for the wrong guy.
Yep. Close the window before it opens.
All right. Top 3 stories, KSLSports.com. Coming up next, Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
It's time to break down the biggest stories of the day. This is the top 3 stories of the day on KSLSports.com. On 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Ben, Senegal is up 1-0 on Belgium.
Not Belarus.
Not Belarus.
Don't
These
say
are
that.
not the Belarusians. I still kind of wanted to say it, but it is Belgium.
Yeah.
My old boss at Sears was from Belgium.
Okay.
But yeah, Senegal up 1-0 because this is the winner of this match will be who the U.S. faces if they're able to beat the Beaks tonight.
Yeah.
Which starts at 6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
I believe.
Yeah. So
Bosnia and Herzegovina and USA. And I'm torn, Ben. I'm gonna stay with my country. This is the 250. The 4th is coming up. But man, we were all on board.
We're big on Beaks.
With Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Yeah.
They're basically our Salt Lake brethren, right?
Correct.
All right. It's time for the top 3 stories of the day at KSLSports.com, brought to you by J. Brooks Jewelers. Cherish your love with J. Brooks Jewelers. Explore their expertly crafted engagement rings made from the finest materials. J. Brooks Jewelers. All right, Christian, where do you want to start today?
Number 1, what's the Jazz plan at center? They do sign Jackson Hayes right before the show. Is that what they're rolling with?
For now. This is, as you mentioned, the bike that after selling their car, this is what they're going to use. Now, I suspect Jusuf Nurkic starts.
I don't think they're done.
Yeah, we'll see what they do with the center position, in all honesty, but I don't think they're going and getting a better center than Jusuf Nurkic. There's just not many out there.
Well, and Nurk can rebound, which is truly what they need without Walker Kessler, because Jaren Jackson's not a rebounder.
And you can play 5 out. Nurk is a much better offensive player than Walker is. Walker does some things that are very effective as an offensive player, putbacks, offensive rebounding, et cetera, et cetera. Nurk opens up a lot of opportunities that I think the Jazz really liked, the ability to play 5 out, and I think that's what they will end up running with. And there's not going to be a very good defensive team as a result, but I don't know how good they were going to be with Walker. But yes, they go out and get free agent Jackson Hayes, who last played for the Lakers, former lottery pick, who never has lived up to kind of his physical tools, has had some very serious off-the-court issues, got arrested for a domestic assault and assaulting a police officer at the time. Now, that was a few years ago when he was in New Orleans, and doesn't seem like there's been further run-ins there, so you hope he's cleaned up his act. But averaged 7 points, 4 rebounds, about a block last year, a little bit less. Did shoot 75% from the floor, and in a lot of big situations, now this is not saying much, but was playing over DeAndre Ayton.
Okay. No, he stinks.
Jackson Hayes.
He's not good. Yeah. Remember, what was it, 2 playoffs ago where the small Ye decided to play 5 guards instead of playing Jackson Hayes, and he just got a DNP for even when the series was lost. And the reason why is because they needed a big. The sommelier still refused to play Jackson Hayes.
Correct. You read into how teams have used him and the fact that he keeps bouncing around.
Listen, in the short term, and barring honestly a trade, I think something, like Miles Turner or something like that, I would find intriguing. I don't know what Cleveland's going to do. Do they make room for LeBron? Do they want to trade Jared Allen? I don't know. There are other better centers out there than certainly Jackson Hayes. So maybe they do something along those lines. If it were me, well, actually, let me add this. I think they're going to sign at least one more body, and they're just going to throw a bunch of bodies at the problem, which is fine. And that way, if somebody gets hurt or somebody really stinks, you just plug in the next stiff and you hope that you can make it work in the short term. If it were me, you know what I would do? I'd sign Andre Drummond.
Okay. Your guy.
I would sign my guy immediately. Think about this, Ben. You get 15 minutes out of Andre Drummond. You get, I don't know, what do you want to say out of Nurk now that his beak's fixed? He could probably give you 25.
Yeah, 25, 26.
So that gets us to 40. That's 40 minutes of 300 pounds leaning on the other team's center. I mean, if nothing else, just be like my 5-year-old when I'm trying to lift her to do something she doesn't want to do, and just
dead weight,
and make them prop you up for 40 minutes of the game. I think, and I'm being serious. I'm not so much being serious about the Drummond, although I do think there is something to. It might as well get somebody huge that makes the other guy tired. But I think Phil can give you some minutes at the big. I do. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think he was tough enough last year and rebounded well enough that you can get, if you want to wrong foot the other team and go with a smaller lineup, if you want to call it 5 out or whatever, I think you can get 5 to 8 minutes out of that. Maybe you can get 5 to 8 minutes out of Jackson Hayes. I mean, what they're going to do is cobble together some center minutes, and they're going to be, defined fine. But, I mean, they're not going to be the bottom of the league next year because they lost Walker Kessler. I truly believe that.
I totally agree with that. They're not going to be the bottom of the league. Let's see. Last year, Nurk, who basically was the Jazz's full-time starter. I mean, he started 36 of the 41 games he was on the floor. Otherwise, they were starting Anderson Garcia and Bez Mbang and Cody Williams at center, which obviously was not a real thing. He averaged 26 minutes a game. Jazz got probably about as much out of him as you can. So 26 minutes a game for Nurk. You're probably looking at 14 to 15 minutes from Jackson Hayes, and you're at 41 minutes. And honestly, the other 7 are probably Jaren Jackson Jr., Yusuf Nurkic, or Kyle Filipowski, like making up the last 8. Like the Jazz is, I would imagine the Jazz's lineup to close most games is Triple J at the 5. And you go with your quote-unquote small ball lineup or death lineup, whatever you want to call it, with Lowry at the 4, maybe Ace at the 3, Darren at the 2, Keontae at the 1, and you just say, like, this is what we want the future of this team to look like, and we're going to give them serious minutes and opportunities to learn and grow. And if it doesn't work at all, you put Nurk back on the floor or whatever. But, yeah, I think that's basically what your center rotation looks like. And if someone gets hurt, they're really thin. They get really thin, but that's the truth anyways. You probably now, though, go find another center on a 2-way contract. That's not Oscar Tshiebwe. So maybe you go and find another 5. Maybe it's Micah Handlogden or whatever, but you find somebody else that in a pinch could step in and play.
By the way, just real quick to make the point about you don't pay the wrong guy. Do you remember back when Andre Drummond was on the Pistons?
Uh-huh.
Remember, they actually showed some promise.
Mm-hmm.
One of their fatal mistakes, overpaying Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
And then never took a step after that, and then had to rebuild again.
Yep.
So, anyway, I love Andre Drummond. The Jazz should sign him immediately, but he is also an example of what you want to avoid.
In his prime.
Yeah. When he was coming up in the very same situation as Walker Kessler. The Pistons maxed him out.
Mm-hmm.
And then he turned into a stiff.
Yep.
And now he's a particularly heavy one.
Yeah, sweaty.
But he'll give you 15. He'll give you 15 leaning on Wemby, 100%.
Yeah. No question.
Next.
Number 2, we've got some breaking news from the Utah Mammoth making a big trade. They are adding Vincent Trochek from the New York Rangers, sending Sean Durzi, Cole Beaudoin, and a 3rd-round pick.
Trochek is a 32-year-old, probably second-line center from the – he's not going to come in and start at center or on that top line for the Mammoth, so definitely a second-line center. From the New York Rangers to step in and play. He has been somebody that has been closely tied to the Mammoth for a while now. Apparently they really like him. He is not big banger. He's 5'11". He's 190 pounds, so he is smaller. I would imagine he jumps in on that line with Cooley and Gunther and gives a little veteran leadership to that group.
Okay, what about what the Mammoth gave up? Because Durzi,
I was always a little underwhelmed with Durzi.
Yeah.
Clearly they were as well because they went out and kept going and trying to get, Mikhail Sergachev, and then they went and got Mackenzie Weegar. Like, they were getting defensive players that they seemed like they wanted to play higher on those lines together than Durzi. So Durzi at this point, I don't know, is he a 2nd or 3rd-line defenseman? Probably 2nd. I would imagine they feel like they can move forward now with Weegar and Mikhail Sergachev on the blue line. And then, they'll put Trochek on the 2nd line. That would be my guess. Beaudoin is a first-round pick that never got to the team, but they only drafted him 2 years ago. Like, that's a big trade. That's a big piece. That's all these assets that they have. That was one that, they had not seen yet and was kind of the big body and a big banger that was maybe going to be competing for a spot on the opening night roster, and he's not there anymore, but obviously Trochek jumps in and takes that spot.
Well, they're in a win-now situation.
They are, and the West continues to get good. San Jose is getting better every day, it seems, and these other young teams are growing up and getting better, so they decided to go out and get a guy who was an all-star just 2 years ago, scoring 77 points, 52 assists, and 25 points, so you hope that coming back you can get 50 points out of him and replace some of the raw production you lose with J.J. Peterka, but also just get a better player.
Yeah, they're still trying to put somebody with the young guys, right?
You can always use some veteran leadership.
Yeah. Well, I'm speaking specifically on that line with Cooley and Gunther.
I think that's right.
Because we talked to Kyler Yamamoto yesterday, and he ended up being that this year, but I don't know if that's in their ideal world.
Yeah, I'll be curious how they move everyone around. But we'll talk to Cole Bagley about this coming up in the next hour.
All right, what's next?
Number 3, for as dead and slow as the opening day of NBA free agency was, today has been quite exciting.
Exciting?
A lot of moves.
Good players?
I think it was probably, I could be totally wrong. It seemed very too coincidental for me that Mitchell Robinson agreed to a deal with the Celtics right as the Lakers were trading for Walker Kessler. I think Mitchell Robinson was probably everybody's emergency parachute, where if the Jazz were going to match on Walker and the Pistons were going to match on Jalen Duren, the Lakers probably would have gone to Mitch Robinson, but they decided ultimately he was not high enough upside, so...
Well, and he wasn't going to wait.
Yeah, and he didn't want to wait, so the Lakers decided, okay, we've got to go all in and get Walker, and so Mitchell Robinson ends up signing with the Boston Celtics. Some other names that have changed teams, notably Tobias Harris is leaving the Pistons to join the San Antonio Spurs.
Great signing by the Spurs.
He was very good last year. 2 years, $31 million is very affordable.
And, the Pistons really needed less shooting.
The Pistons did replace Tobias Harris with John Collins, who I think is a good player. I mean, John was good for the Jazz. And really does shoot the ball extraordinarily well. That's kind of what he does. The Clippers continue to signal that they are not competing next year. Kelly Oubre is leaving the Philadelphia 76ers to sign a 2-year, $17 million deal with the Pacers. That's a pretty low number. Kelly Oubre is a weirdo, not a bad guy, but a pretty good player. Like, he's a pretty good starting wing in the NBA. I think that's a nice fit for them. And those were kind of the big pieces so far. DeAnthony Melton, kind of rumored as another potential target for the Jazz, off the table, 2 years, $11 million to return to Golden State.
Dude, the clinic is still out there.
Clinic is still out there. Oh, and how about the maniac himself, Colin Sexton, also joining the Lakers. I want to see Colin compete on a team that's trying to make the playoffs.
Well, the Lakers can't totally get rid of Clutch, I guess.
Clutch right back in the door.
Right back. Adele still lives in L.A., I think.
Hello. Amongst several moves that the Lakers made today, they also went out and signed Quentin Grimes to a 4-year, $60 million deal. That's basically their whole mid-level exception. Yes, I mentioned Colin Sexton and then Sandro Mamukelashvili also joining.
What about Brook Lopez? He picked up his player option, and maybe the Clippers are looking to
ditch him.
Yeah,
probably.
I can't believe they haven't. Why did they sign Jackson Hayes over the Clinic? I'd take the Clinic any day.
I honestly kind of wondered about Drew Eubanks. They know Drew
Cousin
Eubanks.
Drew?
Yeah. Is it Cousin Drew? It's not Uncle Drew. That's right. It's Cousin Drew because Uncle Drew is another person. I kind of wondered about him, just like a familiar face who plays hard, isn't going to cause any trouble. I don't think Jackson Hayes is probably going to cause any trouble.
Cousin Drew can crack some skulls.
He can crack some skulls.
Yeah,
but
that's
I think
what
the
they
Jazz
need.
probably wanted some athleticism.
Well, I can want in one hand and spit in the other, and we'll see what fills up faster. I mean, the market, honestly, this was the downside.
Yeah, the market stinks.
This was
is
the downside.
why you got 2 first-round draft picks and 2 swaps for Walker Kessler.
Either the Lakers
is a lousy market,
or the Jazz were going into the season sans center.
Yeah,
that was the. I guess when you're playing chicken, that's what you got to take.
Yep.
All right. We'll have more coming up next. Of course, the Walker Kessler news continues to be the big story of the day. We will hit on it. We will take, in the 3 o'clock hour, a brief break to talk about that trade with the Mammoth with our buddy Cole Bagley. That's coming up at 3:30. Jovan Buha is going to join the show at 3:05. He covers the Lakers, so stay tuned for that. It's the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Systems go. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We're teaming up with Beehive Meals, honoring people that impact youth sports in our communities. Nominate the youth sports volunteer for the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week at KSLSports.com/contest and listen every Thursday to this show, the Jake and Ben Show. For the winner, it's the Beehive Meals Hero of the Week. Ben, have you ever heard the infamous legend about Karl Malone?
Which one?
He was picked, and I this could be legend. I don't know. He was picked, and as a rookie, he came to town on the 24th of July, which also happens to be his birthday.
Karl's birthday.
And he said, "Wow, you guys did this for me?
Throwing a parade for me?"
And, again, who knows if that's true or not. Do you think Walker Kessler watched all of L.A. celebrate wildly for the Mexican team winning yesterday? Have you seen the videos for that?
I haven't, no.
Do you think Walker sat there and thought, wow, all this is for me?
This team loves me.
You guys are this excited for me?
Yeah.
I'm in town interviewing, and they're basically a giant celebration of 1 million people. Is this for me?
I didn't know I had such a dedicated fan base.
I had no idea. These Laker fans are amazing.
My Mexican brothers.
Have you seen those videos?
No, I need to watch it.
Oh, dude, the in L.A. I'll have to. I guess the police eventually had to get involved because it got
I'm looking at the videos now.
Got a little bit out of hand.
Well, A, it was a very fun game. B,
was it? Mexico just trounced them.
Yeah, it kind of trounced them. Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to watch all the Mexican fans.
Wasn't
just go
fun for
absolutely
Ecuador.
nuts. We obviously have a huge Mexican population in Salt Lake. I've loved every single person from Mexico I've ever met in my life. I absolutely understand this party. Yeah, I think this makes total sense. I'm sure that ruled. I saw a bunch of people walking on my street yesterday in Mexico jerseys. Christian killed a guy yesterday. That was nuts.
Wow,
his
rough.
Family's routine. But anyways, everyone was happy.
That got dark quick as
Christian's
usual.
a psycho, but his family is from Mexico. But Christian just likes to celebrate with violence.
But I'm just picturing
To
Walker.
the highest levels.
Walker in his hotel room after flying in coach and looking out his room and being like, man, everybody's so excited that
Viva
I'm here.
Walker!
Yeah. All right.
TMZ and a parade, all on his first day.
All in the first day. Wow, they really rolled out the red
fireworks and everything.
the red
this
carpet
looks great
for Walker Kessler.
Oh man, you know what? I've loved the World Cup. This is by far the most I've ever enjoyed it. Most notably, because it's in our time zone. So I can just you and I are sitting at work watching games, catching up on all of them. I'm going home. I'm making dinner. I'm throwing a game on in the background. It's on before I leave. So shout out the World Cup. Been an A+ event. I get why people take 2 weeks off of work to follow it.
I do not, but yeah, I've enjoyed it.
If you have nothing else, go ahead and take your 2 weeks off there. But
if I'm unemployed, I'm taking lots of weeks off to do whatever I want.
My dentist. Shout out my dentist. I also met his son the other day, who works for the Jazz. But my dental hygienist, she's from Mexico, or at least her family's from Mexico. She's from here. But she said her brother-in-law is taking 2 weeks off. I thought, wow, it's a real investment to watch the World Cup. But you said your cousin, or was it your wife's cousin?
Naz's cousin, yeah.
Your wife's cousin took 2 weeks off.
He's basically setting his alarm to get up at 2 a.m., watch all these games. That he's not even have a rooting investment. He's just getting up to do it.
Just likes to watch it.
I can't. No, I'm not that into it. But I will say, yeah, my family sat down and we watched the Mexico game last night. It was fun.
Well, Sweden lost yesterday, right? They're out. They lost. They ended up getting trounced by France. I'm going Team USA, the Beaks, and Mexico. That's my rooting.
Well,
interest
there's going to
now.
be one that's going to be out. Is Sweden the one with the tiny-faced guy, Christian? Who's that one?
Norway.
That has that just
Holland.
Brute, dominant player that has the pinchiest face I've ever seen.
Yeah, downsized his face by 25%. Huge body everywhere.
Huge body, huge head, pinched in face.
Real tiny face.
I can't get over it. And apparently he's quite good.
And you know what's funny? Zlatan has the exact opposite. Watch Zlatan pre, half, and post. Tiny little head.
Giant face.
Enormous face. That dude's face is taking up every square inch. Really making the most of it. So.
I never noticed that about Zlatan. I'm going to have to.
Yeah, it's halftime now, right?
Pay attention.
Go to him.
Dude, how much is Fox spending on analysts?
Well, given James Corden everything, he keeps getting a lot of attention.
I mean, how many different studio shows do they have? I get it; it's a big event, but I think they got every ex-soccer player that's ever played and are giving them money to be analysts. But yeah, I'm sure Fox is blowing it out. You know, they could lose the next one, the next World Cup.
Oh, could they?
The rights come up for a bid. This could be Fox's final World Cup.
It's been a hit. I bet it's going to sell for a lot.
Well, it had to make up for the year that they didn't get the U.S. because that's rough.
Yeah, it was.
Because you're not getting your bang for your buck if the U.S. isn't even in it.
No. But yeah, they'll make some money tonight for sure.
But yeah, Walker, these Laker fans, man, they love me. This is great.
Yep.
They just set a car on fire. Wow, what enthusiasm! It's fantastic.
This is my kind of town.
Yeah, we're gonna take it to them, guys. Yeah.
I will tell you, Los Angeles Walker is one of the more interesting stories in the NBA.
Oh, we'll see how it goes. When's he going to be on Kimmel?
Better be soon.
Oh, he and his wife are going to be on the talk show circuit before you know it. They're going to get a hold of that story. They're going to be like, wow, this guy's wife is Miss America?
Still think it's his girlfriend, but yeah, correct.
This guy's lover is Miss America?
Yeah, I wonder how that story's performing at KSL.
Partner, that's what they say in California.
Yeah, I should switch it out. I'm trying to say that everywhere now. Just whatever. Still Mrs. America. Miss America.
Or was it Miss USA?
I don't know. Told you, I'm still questioning the name
Christian's
that we settled on here with this country.
Christian's big into the pageant circuit. Which one was it?
Huge. Notorious.
Miss America.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
I don't know.
I feel like Miss USA is a bigger deal.
Then Miss America? America could be Canada, Mexico, South America.
And USA's better.
Wow. Hot take.
I don't think they're connected.
They're quite literally connected. You can walk a straight line to all of them.
Are you sure? I thought there were two separate crowns.
Miss USA and Miss America?
Yeah.
I thought it was Miss Teen USA. I didn't know there was a full-on Miss USA.
She was crowned Miss America in 2025.
Yeah. Fallon's going to latch onto that in a second.
Yes,
you know
that's
how
very
many, horribly average Laker players end up on those stupid shows?
Yeah, absolutely.
How did you get on this thing?
We love our friends at UCCU Credit Union, but Walker is, his next whatever bank partner that he's doing advertisements with probably paying him a lot more money.
So Miss America is a nonprofit scholarship program, while Miss USA is a for-profit glamour pageant.
Yeah, I told you. I think they're different things.
Miss USA is preliminary for Miss Universe.
There you go.
So like I said, Miss USA is better.
Yeah, Miss America's going nowhere. Miss USA can go on to the next level. Yeah.
Okay.
Get it together, Ben. I hosted the pageant for Miss Sevier County once.
How was it?
Remarkably fun.
Okay.
They're good people.
In Sevier County?
Uh-huh.
How were the contestants?
Oh, they were fine. I guess it would be it was high school kids. So would that be Miss Teen?
I'm going to say no to that
Sevier
job.
County? Oh, they're very nice. What do you mean say no? What's the matter with that? You're just staying mum on it. Johan Buha coming up next. We'll talk the Lakers' perspective of this. Straight ahead, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Not only do these guys give you the best Jazz coverage in the market, they've got you covered with the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Big trade going down in Jazz land today. It's going to be a sign-and trade. Walker Kessler goes to the Lakers in exchange for 2 first-round picks unprotected in 31 and 33 and 2 pick swaps. Ben, in 28 and 30. And Walker's going to turn around with the Lakers and sign a 4-year deal. And his AAV, Ben?
32.5.
32.5.
Yeah.
You may know per year, but it's no longer called that. It's now called AAV.
We're switching over.
Because some snooty NBA person used it trying to sound smart.
And it's just completely inaccurate, by the way. Because, again, if Walker starts out at $29 million, his number is 29. That's what comes out of the salary, not 32.5. In hockey, it's just the flat average rate that comes out of your salary cap. That's not the case in basketball. So, yes, he'll $32.5 million average per year, but, yeah, probably starts at 29 or might start at 38 and work his way down. I don't know. And there's a player option, right, in the last year, I believe.
Yep, the 4th year is.
So pretty advantageous for Walker. That's not a bad deal. That's a great deal. You know who won today? Walker.
Oh, yeah, Walker's making more money than he should, for sure.
He cashed in. He took advantage of a desperate market. He gets to go play with Luka Doncic. There's a lot more eyeballs on him. If that's all that he wants, he really nailed it. And honestly, he's on a better team today than he was with the Jazz.
I saw some Talk Snap Bozo, so who knows if this is accurate or not, who did the math on the taxes, and Walker's actually coming up behind.
I've heard that.
But I have no idea.
You do have to understand that players pay taxes in every city they play in.
Yeah,
so it's actually only 43 of the 82 games because they play twice.
Well, I don't know how this guy
it's
did
less than that because they also play in Golden State and Sacramento, et cetera. But yes.
I don't know how this guy did
I totally
the math.
believe
I have
it.
no idea.
I believe it. That's 41 games at a much higher tax rate on millionaires than you face in Utah.
And I don't know if Walker's personality is going to be the charismatic Hollywood type that would invite more sponsors, but maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. They may just throw money at you because you wear a Lakers jersey.
No, they threw money at. Well, no, not them. The Lakers. The Lakers threw money at Walker because they're desperate for a center. I mean, they overpaid for Walker. We'll see how this turns out in the end. But as far as that contract right now, that's steep. Steep.
I said this on social media earlier. I'm curious if you felt this ever through every pre-half and post-game show you did. You've listened to every single Will Hardy press conference.
For the most part.
Since Walker Kessler joined the Jazz. Yeah, minus, 5? In all honesty,
right.
I mean, you haven't missed many games. I only ever got the impression that the Jazz were mostly bought in on Walker and not fully bought in on Walker. And I only ever got the impression that Walker was mostly bought in on the Jazz and not fully bought in on the Jazz. If I'm being honest with you, this was not, I'm trying to think of like perfect marriages in NBA history, if there is one. Dirk Nowitzki with the Dallas Mavericks maybe is a good example of it. And look, Dirk's one of the greatest players of all time. I never got the impression that Walker and the Jazz was a perfect marriage for either side, and I don't know if I know why that's the case. Now, I was told as recently as yesterday that the Jazz love Walker. So I don't think that this was what the Jazz's plan was to sign and trade Walker. I don't think there were sign and trade deals for Walker on the table as of Sunday night. Like, I think this really did materialize pretty quickly. But I will say I'm not sure the Jazz were ever like so sold on Walker that this is an unbelievable outcome, and I can't believe these two sides aren't going to be tied together going forward.
Well, yeah, they didn't max him out, so they didn't.
Yeah,
I mean, they didn't love him with all their heart. I do love messaging like that. Oh, we love him.
Yeah,
of course you love him.
Yeah,
Walker is a good player. Now you've got to project. You've got to decide how important he is to your current roster, to your future roster. What's he going to be? And then you have to make a calculated risk or not. And I think that's exactly what they did. If everything was hunky-dory and they all got along and they all shared the vision of who Walker was going to be, they wouldn't have been in this position in the first place. So if you're telling me that it wasn't ideal and the Jazz weren't convinced he was going to turn into Shaq, I would believe it. Because if they were, they would have paid him last year. It's true. I mean, it's the same.
Yeah, absolutely right.
It's the same thing with LeBron. You know, you asked, or we brought it up. I don't know if you specifically asked me, like, where's LeBron going to be? And my answer to you was always not the Lakers.
Yeah.
Because they would have extended him if they wanted LeBron.
They told us what they were going to do last year.
The Lakers, 100%. So if the Jazz were convinced that Walker Kessler was going to be amazing and a critical part of their future, well, they would have fixed it last year. And honestly, the same question goes for Keontae George. If the Jazz think he's an all-star guard, they should pay him now. Whatever, max him out now. If you think he's going to be an all-star guard, like a 2010 kind of guard, we'll pay him.
Yeah, for sure.
But is anybody convinced that that is guaranteed to be the future? I doubt the Jazz are. The Jazz might be a little more willing to part with some dough now that they have more dough to part with, and maybe this changes the conversation on getting a deal done this year. But if they were convinced he was going to be Shea, they'd pay him, and they'd pay him now.
Agreed.
So, I mean, if you want to know the Jazz opinion of Walker Kessler, I'm sure they loved him. They didn't love him enough to pay him whatever he wanted.
Yeah, clearly.
So, I don't know. You've talked before about people in Walker's ear, and maybe he was getting some clunky advice. I would believe it. If you think clunky is twist arms to get every nickel that you possibly can, then, I mean, I think that's the advice that he was getting. I don't buy into it's the Lakers. I think he'd be in the same scenario whether it was the Pacers or the Bucks or whatever. I don't think the team mattered. It's who had money to sign Walker Kessler. And the answer to that is the Lakers. Who was the desperate team? The Lakers. The Jazz aren't desperate.
No, they didn't need to be desperate.
No, they go into a season without a center. All right, they'll figure it out. They don't have prime Luka Doncic who's barking at him to get him back into contention.
I would suspect Jazz players right now are less excited about the roster than they would have been with Walker.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a good player.
But to your point, the Jazz are not beholden to anyone on this roster the way the Lakers are beholden to Luka Doncic, or every team has ever been beholden to LeBron James when he's been on your roster. You just have to go all out to win a title every year when you have them. The Jazz clearly don't feel that way about Jaren Jackson Jr. or Lowry Markkanen or Keontae George or Ace Bailey or Kyle Filipowski or Darren Peterson. In fact, now I think there is a world where, I don't think the Jazz aren't starting another rebuild. They're not going to trade Lowry and trade Jaren and start over.
No,
because
nobody
they've got all
thinks
these
that.
They're not doing that. That's not what I'm saying. But they do have an opportunity now to say you have enough assets today that you didn't have yesterday where you can start to really look at how to maximize this roster once Darren and Ace Bailey start to come into their own, if you believe they're going to get there. So maybe there's a little less urgency to have to get there quicker, which had you had Walker, that was a sign you were trying to get there quicker.
Well, to have good players and flexibility seems like kind of threading the needle.
Very few teams do.
Yeah.
You know, the Thunder did, and I don't think anyone looks at the Thunder of like having a great offseason so far. They've been okay, but they've given up on Isaiah Joe. Did they trade Wiggins already as well? Like they've traded some of their kind of fun depth pieces because you can't really have it all. You get expensive. Yes, your assets are fun, but you've got to continue to build off of that. That looked like offsides to me.
I don't think so, dude.
But Senegal might be up 2-0 right now.
That was a great goal.
On non-Belarus Belgium. Yeah, that was an awesome goal.
Just smoked that thing home.
We were talking about the difference between World Cup and MLS. World Cup is played through the air.
Yeah,
I
sure
mean, that
is.
was a deep ball. That was Josh Allen on a seam.
And you see the trap? The athletic trap?
Unreal. Yeah. Great first touch.
Not that anybody
Off
saw
the
that,
old
but
chest.
I mean, the level of play is just so bananas.
So high.
But to the folks out there who just look on paper at today and go, they got Jackson Hayes for Walker Kessler? Calm down.
Relax.
That's not. You remember our whole thing, like, what's the plan, Phil? When everybody was panicking during the rebuild, they're going, do the Angels have a plan? Do they have what's the plan, Phil? The plan is not to replace Walker Kessler with Jackson Hayes, I assure you.
Correct. Nor was it with Yusuf Nurkic.
No, yeah, Nurk is not replacing Walker either. So when they figure out another solution at center, I'm sure it will become apparent. But maybe they go into the year without a center. Honestly, like we were talking about with put Nurk out there, see what you can do. So I think they'd have to sign another body. I really do.
The one thing I would dismiss for everybody, unfortunately, if you're a Jazz fan, is like the idea that they're going to pivot this summer and go get somebody as good as Walker. If that was the case, that's what the Lakers would have done. If Jared Allen was available today,
they would have done
for
it.
2 first-round picks and no swaps, they would have just gone and gotten Jared Allen. Or if Daniel Gafford was available for 1 pick, I bet the Lakers would have gone and done that. I'm sure the Lakers surveyed the 29 other teams in the NBA and said, what's out there? And they said, well, Rudy's not available. Jared Allen's not available. Miles Turner's not available. Work their way down, and then you end up with Walker Kessler as a free agent at $32 million plus draft picks. And they decided that was the best option for them. Now, again, what was hard for the Lakers is they had no leverage. They have to give Luka somebody to play with. That was probably contingent on him signing an extension in the first place last year. He was promised. And B, if you don't, Luka's not getting where he needs to be on the floor offensively because he does want someone to come up and set a screen for him and roll to the basket to create space, and he's not playing any defense and there's no one behind him. So there's no value in having Luka on your team if you don't also have a player like Walker. You have to have the other. The Jazz were not fully in that spot because they don't have a Luka. Now, you do need to have a center next to Jaren Jackson Jr., and you have to actually have a center better than Yusuf Nurkic and Jackson Hayes to win at the highest level with Jaren Jackson Jr. But the Jazz didn't feel like they had to win at the highest level this year or give themselves the best chance to win at the highest level this year, and it certainly seems like the Lakers did. Hence the Lakers doing what you love to talk about, acting desperately.
Yep.
And it's a stinky cologne. And the Angels, apparently, and Justin Zanuck, have a nose for it. They have found a lot of desperate teams over the last 4 years and pantsed them in front of a lot of people, and Jazz fans have to hope this is the latest example.
2 unprotected firsts. And pick swaps are now more valuable than they were before because of the randomness of the draft.
That's correct.
So
you have so much less control over your roster that if Luka has a hamstring, has indigestion from too many burgers and beers.
Well, a lot of soft tissue there.
Whatever.
A lot of soft tissue to get hurt.
And you get a lottery pick or a non-playoff team in the Lakers, it's no longer, this is the 14th best team. Again, those odds are, it's like a 9% chance or 8% chance of winning the lottery, when in the past it was 1%.
So those swaps have more
value.
value.
They do have more value, there's no question about it.
Than people think. So, I started the show this way. I think it was a pretty smart, savvy deal. And I like long-term stuff. I mean, when you start getting into sacrificing the short-term, that's when you start getting into the desperate territory. Again, the Lakers are desperate to be good around Luka, so they had cap space for the first time in 8 years, and they blew it all in a day, including on overpaying for Walker Kessler in contract alone before you even get to the comp that they sent to the Jazz. Pretty wild, honestly. So we'll see how it turns out. I am rooting for Walker, though. I'm never rooting for Luka or the Lakers, but I'm rooting for Walker. I hope he lives up to it. Being the old maid's no fun. When you've got the bad contracts and everybody's just talking about how do you move off Walker. Look at poor Jakob Poeltl. What's the only reason he's been in the headlines at all over the last 2 years?
Yeah, he's a fine player. He's like a fully fine player.
He's an albatross in everybody's
but he's paid
books.
Wrong.
Yeah, he's paid way wrong,
Yeah.
and people just blast him. I truly believe that Andre Karolinko and his contract was the reason that the Darren Williams, Carlos Boozer Jazz teams did not succeed more.
Right.
I'm not going to be the guy who says that they would have won a title if not for Andre. I don't know. But they would have been a better team sans Andre. That is not Andre's fault, nor is that a comment that Andre is a bad player, even though I don't think he was nearly as good as people remember. But that's neither here nor there. He wasn't worth his deal. The Jazz couldn't do anything else because of that crippling deal, and that team ended up, for lack of a better term, capped out with nowhere to go. Mm-hmm. Or else they would have traded Andre Karolinko in a heartbeat, but nobody wanted him. Nobody wanted him at that price point. And then everybody goes, well, why isn't AK better? It's not his fault, but it's a valid question. You've got a max deal. Why are you better?
Yeah.
Why are you better? Mm-hmm. And it would suck to be that guy. So I hope Walker Kessler is not that guy. There is a real chance he will become that guy.
There is yes. Because, look, it's like a failing business. And I'm not saying the Lakers are going to fail. But when there's a failing business, they generally don't fire the guy at the lowest end. One of the bigger contracts rolls, right? You cut off somebody who's making too much money at the top that they think is...
That hasn't always been my experience, but yeah.
Sure, yes, of course, sometimes they cut the lower. Like, we're talking serious, things need an overhaul. Someone at the top, not the very top, that's Luka. That person's not going to roll. The CEO's not going to roll. But they might change around somebody else with a big salary. The first place that they find that they can maybe save some money and not lose the entire identity. And I would worry strongly that could be Walker. Now, it might just be Austin Reeves because he's relatively duplicative of what they already have in Luka. Now, he's not the same player by any means, but they say, well, our backcourt's good. We got Luka. We can pair him with anybody, but we got to have Walker because there's no replacement for him. But if the Lakers don't achieve, somebody's going to get blamed, and it's not going to be Luka, which means there's a 50-50 chance it's Walker or Austin Reeves, and you got to pick who it is.
And Austin Reeves is more popular, so
correct.
Usually it doesn't have anything to do with
And he's going to average 25 points a game.
Yeah.
And everyone likes guys who average 25 points a game. They don't like guys who average 12 and 12, which is probably about who Walker is, maybe 15 and 12.
I think his ceiling is higher than that, but yeah. I mean, Luka throwing him lobs all day, if he turns into a real role guy, I mean, maybe he can get up north of 15.
Maybe.
And I don't know, the way the rebounding was going, maybe he could get up north of 12. I do believe he was is a really good rebounder.
Walker's a good player. No question about it.
Don't doubt that. Although I don't know about the rest of these bozos they're signing. I mean, are you thinking the Lakers truly are going to be a top, 4 team in the West?
Top 6.
You think?
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know if that's a guarantee.
Depends on if Luka's healthy and engaged. There is also a part of me that worries that Luka just isn't going to care.
Well,
Luka is a front runner. When things are going well, Luka's awesome. When things get hard, Luka gets hard.
He goes back to Europe.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to be any good defensively. I think that issue is still a thing.
Where were they last year? Let me pull that up. Because I think J.J. Redick is a weirdly good, kind of understands defense as well. Let me see if I can figure this out. Regular season. Last year, the Lakers had a defensive rating of... Still scrolling. 20th.
That's not
Yikes.
Yeah. But Walker is better than
DeAndre
Ayton.
And Jackson Hayes.
But we've seen your starting backcourt having no defensive acumen, and that is tough to scheme around.
No, they probably jump up to like the 17th best defensive team, maybe 15th best defensive team. Because they got Walker. They did not go out and find a bunch of other defensive guys. Colin Sexton's a fun player. He's not a particularly good defensive player. Quentin Grimes is a fun player, not going to change your ceiling defensively.
Nope.
Mamas Kelishvili is kind of a stretch five, gives them some different looks, but yeah, they didn't get a lot better defensively today. They got something they didn't have, which is a rim protector. They didn't get Rudy Gobert, who creates a defense by himself. That's never been who Walker is.
And by the way, I heard some interesting commentary on this. Make no mistake, the Rob Pelinka is desperate because this new ownership group, or at least their behavior with the Dodgers, was they replaced pretty much everybody, but they kind of took their time doing it in a nice way.
Mm-hmm.
So, but after about a year and a half to 2 years, everybody was different, from the manager to the GM to the analyst on the broadcast. They all were kind of eventually traded over in a nice way. And I wonder if they're having a similar approach with the Lakers, and Pelinka's probably thinking like, I gotta hit a home run here so I can keep my gig.
Well, Pelinka stinks.
Oh yeah,
I gave them a D for the LeBron James 8-year tenure last season, or yesterday, I should say, for what they did over the last 8 years. With the news yesterday that LeBron was leaving, I gave him a D, and a lot of that is because Pelinka
is terrible.
Was not that creative. Didn't really figure out great options to make that team a lot better.
Well, he was an empty suit. He just let Clutch do it all.
Do you want me to read you Anthony? Did you see Anthony Davis's tweet?
I want to hear it.
He was making fun of Pelinka. All right, let me see if I can find it here quickly. Somebody, Cuffs the Legend, on Twitter wrote, Anthony Davis practically begged Rob Pelinka to get him a center alongside him for years. Rob didn't budge. Anthony Davis got backdoored. Braun Loki got backdoored, which you and I agree with. They kicked him out. And now he wants to be a competent GM. And now the duo that won you a championship is gone. You can't make this, quote, stuff up. And then put a snake in the grass. And Anthony Davis just replied with a bunch of laughing emojis. Like, I don't think there's a lot of respect for Rob Pelinka as a GM, including from Anthony Davis.
Well, no, he's not very good. But listen, Anthony Davis, if I were to sit him down and be like, you're a big dude. Stop begging for a center.
Yeah, right.
That's you.
That is your job.
You are the center.
Correct.
Are you not paying attention? That is you. Karl Anthony Towns finally figured out he was a center, Ben. And he turned into a much better player. Mm-hmm. Much more important, obviously, on a championship team, because he finally decided, I'm going to have to be the guy who's the center. Okay.
Yeah.
And then he was pretty good at it.
Right.
Anthony Davis begging for a center. I remember that's the whole reason the Pelicans got DeMarcus Cousins.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes.
I'm with you.
That's the reason Minnesota got Rudy Gobert. And it didn't work out.
Correct.
So, and then he got traded, Karl Anthony Towns, and finally they tried to put him with Mitchell
Robinson.
Robinson.
I'll be a 5.
Do you remember? They started Mitchell Robinson for a long time. And yeah, he realized somebody got through to him. Like, dude, you're a big. You've got to play like a big. You've got to be a big.
Play big.
Play big.
And he did, and they won a title.
And they were really dang good. Crazy how that happens.
Really funny.
And you know what? And I would tell him this too. It's amazing how much more willing Jalen Brunson was to pass you the ball when you're playing tough and playing big.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. No go on Buha. That's all right. I thought we salvaged a pretty good segment.
Do our best.
Senegal's now up another goal. I told you it wasn't offsides.
You're right. That was a great pass.
Cole Bagley coming up next. We'll talk about the Mammoth made a trade today. We'll get Cole's thoughts. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Senegal still up on Belgium 2-0. Just a reminder that if the U.S. can beat Bosnia and Herzegovina, they would play the winner of this match. I'd have to look at the rankings, Ben, but I would think Senegal winning is a huge upset. That's probably pretty good for Team USA, who has had trouble beating European teams.
Yep.
So, big trade in Mammoth land today. Vincent Trochek is on his way from New York to Utah in exchange for Sean Durzi, Cole Beaudoin, and a third-round pick. Joining us now to talk about it, our Mammoth Insider for KSLSports.com. He has a breakdown of the trade up online at KSLSports.com as we speak. He's our buddy Cole Bagley. What's going on, Cole?
How much, guys? How you doing?
We're doing well. All right, Cole, give us a breakdown on who Vincent Trochek is and why he's been somebody that's been closely linked to the Mammoth, and apparently they've been chasing for a while.
Yeah, I mean, Vincent Trochek is one of those gritty, grimy veteran centers that are hard to come by, and Utah has long since coveted him because that's an area that they've greatly lacked. Obviously, as reported by Elliot Friedman, this is a guy that they've been after for some time. They even tried acquiring him last season, but weren't able to get it done. But, coming into free agency in the off season, it finally worked out because, Trochek was, looking for a new place to go, a new, a change of scenery, and Utah had obviously opened up some cap space and were willing to part with a couple of those assets to get a guy like that. So, no, I think this is a great fit for the Mammoth. Obviously, he's 32, so he's probably a little bit older than you would necessarily hope or want, but he's very experienced. He won a gold medal with Team USA just a few months ago, was on the team with Clayton Keller, was a huge part of the United States power kill, and like I said, I think this is a really good pickup for Utah.
Lineup wise, where does he fit?
It's a good question. Utah now has a lot better center depth than they've had over recent years. Obviously, Schmaltz moved to center. They've got Logan Cooley. They re-signed Kevin Stenlund today as well. They're still trying to work things out with Barrett Hayton. And so, the question is, where does he fit in? Is it worth moving Schmaltz back to the wing and Trochek as your 1C, or is it better to have Trochek maybe as your third line center? There's a lot that will definitely need to be worked out, but that's why you have training camp, and I'm sure Utah will definitely figure those things out from there.
Just as far as how much better are the Mammoth today? Just big picture, a lot better, a little bit better. This is a major piece. This is a guy you're counting on the playoffs. How do you view it?
I think they're a little bit better. This isn't an acquisition of a guy like a Zach Werenski or a Dylan Larkin or an Austin Matthews or he's not a superstar, but he's a guy that I think can come in and help continue to improve the culture of the Utah Mammoth, who can come in and help fill some needs. Looking back at their postseason run against Vegas, one thing that Coach Andre Tourney talked to us about just last week in regard to that was, both he and the front office have been reflecting a lot on their current roster and looking at guys who were just 82 game players and guys who, could help them go beyond that, right? Which guys are going to not only play 82, which guys are going to step up in the postseason when it matters most. And I think getting a guy like Vincent Trochek signals to this team that they're raising the expectations, that it's not just about getting to the playoffs, but it's about winning a playoff series. And I think Trochek is a guy that can help them do that.
We had Kyler Yamamoto on yesterday after his contract extension. Are there any other guys that they have to make a decision on whether or not to re-sign?
No, I mean, for the most part, everybody's moved on at this point that's going to move on. Kerfoot signed with Nashville. Ian Cole signed with Chicago. They obviously did not decide to bring back Vanacek, who signed with the New York Islanders, and then bringing back Yamamoto, signing Stemlin today. I think the only one really remaining of that group is Barrett Hayton, but he's a restricted free agent, and things are a little bit different as the team has filed for arbitration. So beyond that, most of their pending free agents have now got new deals.
What do you think of how much the Mammoth gave up? What do you think of Durzi, who had some moments? It didn't seem like he ever really quite lived up to some of the expectations for him, and then we have not seen Cole Beaudoin yet.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty decent trade package. I think it's pretty fair going both ways. It's tough. It's tough to part with a prospect like Cole Beaudoin. I've been able to watch him this week at development camp. I'm sure it's pretty strange for him. He's in Utah one day and the next he's traded to New York. I'm sure he's packing his bags and getting ready to head out east to join that group. It's tough because, he's a very competitive guy. I think he's a very good all-around 200-foot player that, could have made an impact for this team. But at some point, Utah has an embarrassment of riches. They have so many young prospects that they can't even sign all of them. And, they obviously just scored with, their first-round draft pick this year in Ethan Belchez, and, a bigger guy who, can add, I think, a little bit more than a guy like Cole Beaudoin can. Obviously, two different positions, but really, really good player with a lot of size. And so, I'm sure that the front office looked at it and went, look, we've got more guys than we can sign. We've got to move them. We really like Trochek, and Cole Beaudoin's probably a guy that moves the needle enough to get them to make the deal. In terms of Sean Durzi, I don't know that they're going to really miss him all that much. He was a good player. But I think his role was more of kind of a cheerleader, kind of a guy that, a good locker room guy who was going to, fight for anybody, stand up for anybody. But he had some pretty, notable mistakes this year. He's a guy that he tries to be a puck mover a little bit too much, and if you looked a little bit deeper at his metrics and analytics, he cost the Mammoth a lot of goals. And so I think they probably looked at that and said, you know what, we can get a guy like Trochek. We're going to give up, a good prospect, but we have plenty. And then, things with Sean Durzi just aren't quite working out. We have other guys that we can have fill in for us. So overall, I think it's a win-win for both teams. New York needed some youth. They needed to add more to their prospect pool, so they get a good prospect in Cole Beaudoin, and then coming the other way, a very, very talented veteran center in Vincent Trochek that I think, slightly raises the ceiling for this team.
Okay, you mentioned that glut of prospects and young talent. Who of those has a chance to make the team next year?
Yeah, this fall, I think that I'd say that the expectation, for this fall is that Boot and Simashev probably make their roster. Those are two guys that obviously spent a little bit of time with the Mammoth this last year, but they played the majority of the season in the AHL. And I say that should be the expectation because they've been in the prospect pool. They've been in the system for quite a few years, and I think it would mean that something's wrong if those two, aren't ready to make the roster. But I think seeing Durzi on the move, seeing Utah, not pursue re-signing Ian Cole, I think that kind of, I think that is a nod that Simashev is probably ready to make this team. As for Daniil Boot, I think, the fact that they have passed on a couple of other forwards, I think that's also a pretty good nod and gives you a pretty good idea that he's potentially ready to make the opening day roster. And then amongst the rest of their prospects, they've got a lot of first-round picks, right? They've still got Denoye, they've got Iginla, they've got their recent first-round pick in Ethan Belchez. I would say that one of either Iginla or Denoye will probably make the opening night roster. And, there's a couple of different ways to look at it. I know that Denoye, he's probably got the best overall skill. But, when I look at a guy like T.J. Iginla, this past week, he's just looked like a player that's ready to make the team. Despite it just being a development camp, he realizes and recognizes that there are eyeballs on him right now. I mean, Bill Armstrong is watching him very closely. Bear has been, sniffing around development camp, and he has an opportunity to show them that he means business even during a camp that really doesn't matter all that much. This is a camp where they're not necessarily looking at skill; it's more about culture. But Tej has taken every opportunity to be laser focused and show off his skill and talent. So, I think based on what I've seen this week and based on the new additions that Utah has made today by bolstering their center depth, I would say that Tej Ginla might be starting to emerge from those two as the most likely to make the team.
Cole, we appreciate you and all your fine work following breaking news, man. We appreciate it.
Great stuff, Cole.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
There you go, Cole Bagley, the Utah Mammoth Insider. Yeah, trade for now. I think that's the position that the Mammoth are in at the moment. They've got a glut of young prospects and players, so if they're not quite there, find something that's going to help you at the moment. I think the Mammoth need to be a threat in the playoffs next year. I think that's where the bar moves.
And if Trochek brings the toughness, even though he's not huge, 5'11", though, if he's tough in front of the net and can get, as Cole said, get some of those grimier goals and maybe, kind of take a load off of some other players, that's a huge plus because they were clearly missing that in the playoffs. And look, the team they nearly beat in the playoffs, nearly doesn't matter, but nearly beat in the playoffs, went to the Stanley Cup Finals. So just need to get hot and have the right players.
Say that again, Christian. Come on the air.
The Utah Mammoth, per Frank Saravalli, just signed Anders Lee. He was a captain for the New York Islanders.
Okay.
So the Mammoth taking another big name New York player.
See if we can get our Mammoth Insider Cole Bagley on the phone.
I wonder if he's busy.
What he's up to.
Missed that news. Come on now. Okay, so another signing for the Mammoth.
Aggressive.
Continue to be active.
Yep.
Yeah, I think the franchise feels like next year could be a positive step in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Onward and upward, Ben.
Yep.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more Jake and Ben coming up next. We'll continue to talk Jazz and Walker Kessler. We've got Big T Thurl Bailey. Yes, no big deal. Big T is going to be on the show at the top of the 4 o'clock hour. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson. Now, every day from 2 to 6 on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
So Win Ticket Wednesday, Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Good one today. Be caller 12 right now, 801-575-ZONE. You're going to win a Friends and Family 5-pack of tickets to go see Post Malone with special guests Jelly Roll and Carter Faith at Rice-Eccles Stadium on July 28th. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com or simply be caller 12, 801-575-ZONE. That's 801-575-ZONE. How about this report from Jake Fisher, Ben? Signing Walker Kessler was a bigger priority for the Lakers than re-signing LeBron James. You know, Jake, you've broken some news in the past. I don't think this is that.
This isn't breaking news.
Because that's quite literally what happened. Not just Walker, by the way, but Austin Reeves and some other.
All these pieces.
All these pieces.
That will, though, what's the word I'm looking for? Not inexplicably. It will always be tied to Walker Kessler. That his incoming is tied to LeBron's exit. LeBron had to leave for Walker to be a possibility for the Lakers. So he will always be measured with that as part of his reputation. That will always be a part of the narrative. That the Lakers traded LeBron, which is not what happened, for Walker.
Did not sign LeBron because of Walker.
Correct.
Yeah, but not LeBron James. Old, dusty LeBron
Correct.
James.
Older LeBron.
Who
No
doesn't
question.
like to run.
And is in his last season.
And
You're trying to get, 4 years now of Walker.
Adele's fiance, when did a podcast, did you see? He was talking about why LeBron is leaving and what his priorities are. He said it's pure happiness. That's what LeBron wants to find. Wants to make the decision based on happiness, not on money. But if you read between the lines in all these statements, he's implying that the Lakers were offering money.
Correct.
He implies it to the Lakers. Like if they made the decision based on money and not happiness, he would have stayed with the Lakers.
Jake, the other part of this that you're not saying is if you leave your wife and I say, what happened? You say, I just want to be happy. What does that imply? You weren't happy with your wife.
Right.
That's the other part of kind of the implication of all of this.
Right. And
but
then,
yes, A, I had the money, but I want to be happy. That means A, you weren't happy there, but really I think it's probably the inverse of
It
both
is
of
the inverse.
He was probably thrilled to be a member of the Lakers.
And in L.A.
In L.A.
Making $50 million. But they weren't going to offer you 50. They were going to offer you 0. And that's why you're going somewhere else.
I love liars. I love when people lie. I think it's funny when you can see the lies. And
It's
was
pure
a lie.
PR. Yeah, it's a pure lie.
Yeah.
Pure lie. I'm prioritizing happiness, not money.
Yeah.
If I were prioritizing money, I would have taken the money the Lakers were offering. The problem is the Lakers weren't offering any money. So I had to go somewhere else. But breaking news, Jake Fisher is technically correct. I don't know if we needed the report, but yes, signing Walker Kessler was a bigger priority for the Lakers than re-signing LeBron. I would argue that the day they traded for Luka was the day they moved on from LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
And we can talk about them not extending
you
him
were
a contract.
exactly right. The fact that they didn't tell LeBron they were trading for Luka, they let everybody know this is no longer LeBron's team.
No, we joked about it that day. That was Linda Rambus taking her franchise back. Now, it didn't stay Linda's for very long because they then sold the team, and Linda got a $24 million payout. Good day to be Linda.
Correct.
I don't know if she carries that kind of weight in the locker room these days, but yeah, the Lakers moved on from LeBron as soon as they traded for Luka. The way the way that they traded for Luka is another clue to that. They wanted their franchise back.
Yeah.
And so at no point was LeBron going to sign again with the Lakers. Now, do you want to? Are you still in the Golden State camp?
Probably yes.
I'm still saying Cleveland.
Okay.
But you think Miami would be interesting too?
Did Belgium just tie it up?
Did they just tie it
in
up?
the final 2 minutes with goals?
Back
in
to
the
back?
last 5 minutes. I mean, just awesome goals. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, that stinks for the U.S.
Apparently, Senegal and Belgium are
pretty even,
nearly identical.
Oh, okay.
As far as kind of their expectation going into this. Now, look, it's tied. It's 2-2. It's not 2-0. But clearly, Belgium has all the momentum. They've just put 2 goals in the back of the net in the last 5 minutes. In the 85th and 89th minute. So they're on fire.
Because I was just complaining during the break that they're a team with no urgency, down 2-0 in the final 10 minutes of the game. And then all of a sudden, I guess that's why people love soccer.
A couple of unreal goals. Man, the World Cup's been fun.
Do you think the U.S. will beat Bosnia and Herzegovina?
I have my doubts.
Or do you think what's-her-name in L.A. is going to have to leave the country?
Abigail Velez.
Uh-huh.
ABC might be looking for a new field reporter.
She's got to go.
She's got to go.
Got to go. You let down the whole country.
Fired up the beaks.
Let down the whole country. Giving bulletin board material to the opponent. See, they should have been listening. They should have been listening to this show where we've done nothing but kiss Bosnia and Herzegovina's butts for the last 3 weeks. Welcome them to town. We gave them 0 bulletin board material.
We tried to just butter them up.
Yeah, exactly.
Soften them up.
Soften them up.
Yeah.
Now we'll see what happens. 6 o'clock kickoff, and they're playing in Santa Clara, if memory serves.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited for the game.
And then they move on to face the winner of this. And again, Belgium and Senegal are now tied up at 2 apiece. Oh, the manager for somebody's getting a yellow card.
Oh.
I didn't know coaches could get a yellow
it's like
card.
a tech. Looks like for Belgium.
Why are you unhappy, bro? You just scored.
He's just fired up. Apparently, by the way, Anders Lee, we just barely touched on it, who signed with the Mammoth also. Is kind of their big free agent signing so far. 3 years, about $15 million. AAV, just over $5 million. That's the big body. We were talking about Trochek not being that big. Anders Lee, 6'3", 235.
Okay.
Beefy.
A little more built.
A little beefy boy, yeah. Big guy. Also, apparently a nice guy. Won the Clancy Award, which is the humanitarian award, like best leader off the ice.
Tom Clancy?
Yeah, it's named after famed crime.
He's not a crime writer. He writes military. In fact, I watched The Hunt for Red October the other day. Randomly found it on.
Okay. How was it?
Great movie.
Holds up?
Absolutely holds up. All those movies hold up. Although I will, this is I know it's not Tuesday, but my hot take is Alec Baldwin is the best Jack Ryan.
Okay. Did we draft Alec Baldwin in our great fall-offs? By the way, today's Wednesday. Are we doing What You Got Wednesday at 4:30?
Probably should.
Probably should talk about it.
I've got some ideas.
Okay.
At least for the not sports one.
Okay. I think we suggested a few recently, too. You might have some in the coffers. But, okay, we'll figure it out.
He's the Mike Conley of the NHL?
Mike Conley of the NHL. Nice guy. Good guy.
All right. Well, that's nice. So he's not going to be robbing liquor stores or anything, in theory. But, yeah, the Mammoth need toughness, right?
Who's the last athlete to rob a liquor store?
Oh, there's got to be someone somewhere.
Yeah, probably. But liquor store's pretty low level. They don't have a lot of cash on them.
Well, I think that's why you rob liquor stores is because they do have a lot of cash on them. But I don't think...
Or maybe you're not robbing it for the cash.
I don't think anywhere has a lot of cash on them anymore.
Not no more. Tom Clancy is best known for writing, quote, techno thrillers, which feature technical details and espionage. Military science. But you're right. It's still military. You're right. But it has to do with the... I've never heard techno thriller as a... I was curious what his exact genre was.
I've never heard of that. He writes military novels.
Technically accurate military novels, yeah.
The series with Jim from The Office is actually pretty good.
Is it?
Have you watched it?
It's also, what's his name?
Tom Clancy.
Yeah.
Jack Ryan.
That's what we're
not
talking
Clancy,
about.
Jack Ryan. It's all,
yeah,
they're all
it's all
Jack
Ryan, yeah.
Every single one of them's Jack Ryan.
Nah, Crimson Tide wasn't, but yeah.
Everything else, though. It's his guy.
Yeah, have you ever read a Tom Clancy book?
I don't think I have. I should pick one up.
It's a thick read.
Yeah.
One of those. It's an investment.
Yep.
It's not an easy beach read. It's definitely more of an investment.
Okay.
And I think he stopped writing his books a long time ago.
He's just been living off the cash?
No, Tom Clancy books continue to come out, but they're usually says Tom Clancy on the cover, and then it says also by Ben Anderson. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's been dead since 2013. So.
Well, so that would explain it.
He's got a new one coming out next year.
Die in 2013?
How does he do it?
Well, his family's making out they made a movie out of it recently.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Yeah, not bad.
No? All right. Stay tuned. Thurl Big T Bailey is going to be on the show next. And then we'll have a What You Got Wednesday at 4:30. It's the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
The 4 o'clock hour is here.
It's fun time!
And you're locked on to Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
For the Lakers to pay 2 first-rounders unprotected in 2 swaps for the pleasure of overpaying a player.
For going over market for a player.
For the pleasure of overpaying a player is laughable. So the Jazz are a little worse on paper as a roster. Check. But did they overpay the wrong guy?
No.
No, they did not.
Which we have learned today is maybe the single worst thing you can do in the NBA.
By overpaying the wrong guy.
This is Jake and Ben on 97.5. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. I knew this, but it's funny to see it in writing. The Lakers now have no tradable first-round picks for the next 7 years after making this trade for Walker Kessler.
Because you can't trade back-to-back picks.
No.
So you can trade 21 or 31 and 33, which is what the Jazz got from them. But when you do that, you've bookended 32, so you can't trade 32. And then, all the rest of them are swaps.
How about that?
For the Utah Jazz.
How about that?
On top of it, the Lakers, I don't know if they're going to have any financial flexibility with all of these guys. And,
No, they spent all their money.
It's just going to be brutal. It's a real heavy bet on this team, as is. To grow into something. And look, Walker has the potential to get better. He does. Walker can continue to improve. Austin Reeves might be able to get better.
But you're putting a lot on Luka's soft tissue.
I am a little worried about Luka's desire for relaxation.
You're worried about the vaping.
Sometimes it seems like he mails in seasons, not games, not possessions. Sometimes it feels like he mails in possessions, which I think you always got to be careful with.
All right. Well, I'm eager to get our next guest's thoughts on it. Of course, you see him on K-Jazz and Jazz Plus. He's there with Bowler calling all of the action. But, of course, he's a dang Jazz legend as well. He is Thurl Big T Bailey. Big T, what is going on?
What's up, Lil J? Little B.
That's the coolest thing anyone's ever said to me, Thurl, so I appreciate you saying that.
We're just breaking
What's going on, fellas?
We're breaking down a big trade, Big T. I mean, the NBA never sleeps, right? Walker,
Never.
restricted free agent. Now he's on the move. Couple of firsts and some swaps coming back. Eager to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, part of me is a little sad that he's going, but I get it. It's the business of basketball. I went through a trade from the same team, and I get it. It comes down to the business part that both sides have to do what's best for them. But I think Walker still has a ton of upside. Tough injury last year that happened to him in a tough situation. So, yeah, you can do nothing but wish him the best. He's young enough where he can still make a name for himself. And look, there's no secret that Luka needed a big. He needed a big he could play with, and I think Walker will fit that mold. And now since LeBron is exiting, Walker's going to have a lot of responsibility on that team, not just to protect the paint, but also be an outlet for a team that's building on their own.
The Jazz offered Walker a 5-year contract because they did believe he could get better. The number that they put out there for him, almost $28 million, was a very significant offer, plus a lot of years because they thought he could get better. You know big guys very well in the NBA. Where can Walker be? Can he be a top 7 or 8 center in the NBA? He's probably not going to get to the Jokic level, obviously, but how good can he be?
I think he could be. I mean, I think a lot of it depends on how you look at bigs and what their abilities and what their jobs are their roles are with that particular team. And it all comes down, not just his personal effectiveness, but how the team is doing, because it plays a lot into that, plays a lot into their record. But I think he could be. He could be a top, 6 or 7 bigs in the league. He's not going to be, you mentioned the Joker. He's not going to ever be that type of player where he's going to affect the game in that many ways. He knows who he is. He can improve scoring on the inside and be more of a threat if the ball goes into him. But I don't see him being utilized that way as much as being in the dunk spot, being in the dump down spot, being able to, rear view block and chase guys that get past the first defender in him. So most of what he is going to be able to do is on the defensive side is be a rim protector, be a guy who is a dissuader, which means when you see Walker in the lane, you're going to think twice about whether I should go down or not or just pull up. On the offensive end, he can run. He can run the floor, which is going to be a plus in this league as well. So yeah, I think he could be in that top 6, 7, 8 category.
Thurl, how hard is it for a player to go through tough contract negotiations? It's the NBA is lucrative, certainly, and the rewards are super high, but it's also very, very cold. So I'm curious, from a player's perspective, what has Walker been going through?
Well, it's a business, so that's why you have a go-between. That's why you have an agent. So whatever happens, even if he was to come back here, the relationship is not hurt. And it's interesting because when the Jazz traded me after 8 years of being here, I shouldn't have been as naive as I was, because I thought I had found a place where I complimented the team off the bench. And it was a surprise to me. I mean, I found out in a weird way on my way home on the radio. That's how it was done back then, at least in my case. And so it's a little bit different because you've developed really good relationships, right? And all of a sudden, things change on the business side. So you have to be rooted enough to understand, whether it's through your agent or whether it's through yourself and educating yourself on how this thing can go. It's not all about the money. The money's important on both sides, right? The Jazz are acquiring assets. They're trying to build a championship team, and they have to decide, whether that's going to be with or without Walker. And Walker has to decide whether he's going to be in a better position, be it financially or be it, to be the guy, especially in the paint, not sharing that with anybody for the most part. So, yeah, it's sometimes it's a delicate balance. But in the end, both sides understand that it's not personal at all.
Yusuf Nurkic, I think, moves into the starting center spot for the Jazz, at least if the season started today. Jackson Hayes is the backup. Again, the Jazz didn't have Walker Kessler at all last year, so it's hard to say, are they better this year than they were last year? But what do you think of the Jazz's current center rotation?
Well, I think Nurk is capable. I think he showed that, even in a difficult year last year. The fact that he only had one double-double coming into being with the Jazz. Triple-double. And he got 2 back-to-back. So that's not nothing to me. What you're going to be missing, though, is rim protection from that position. However, you do have Tripp, right? You do have a Defensive Player of the Year on your team. So they're interchangeable, right? We're still going to be big. Nurk is, to me, if not the best, one of the best screeners in the NBA. The way he uses his body, the way he clears that space for the guard to come off, his value is amazing. He doesn't have, the vertical assets maybe that you see regularly in this league, but I don't think he has to. I think he takes up enough space. He knows he's a veteran. He knows how to get rebounds. He knows how to allow his teammates to get him just by using his body. He's just a very savvy veteran. So I think you're still capable defensively. And that really, I think, with Will, if you asked him about what priority is, it really is about the defensive end. And so, yeah, we've got some capable people.
Leaves a big hole in the rebounding, doesn't it, Big T? For some reason, and maybe you can shed some light on this, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is not a big-time rebounder. I think that's going to be an issue they're going to have to look at.
It doesn't mean you can't be.
Right.
I think if that's your priority, you make that clear. Like, look how big we are. We all have to rebound. We all have that responsibility. And I think you're going to see his rebounding numbers go up because of it and because of the fact that, we're not going to rely on Walker or Nurk to do it all. You've got size, so get your butt in there and rebound. Will's not afraid to talk to these guys real talk and tell them what his expectations are. And I don't see any issues. I think Tripp is willing to do what it takes to win. I think Lauri Markkanen is the same. His rebounding numbers, I think, have improved because they've had to. And so from the bigs to the guards, I think you'll see, a focus there, and not just, on the defensive end, but the second shots are going to matter, second attempts. And so I don't see that being a big issue.
What are you excited for at Summer League coming up, Big T?
Everything. Come on, man. Everything. I'm really excited to see Ace and Darren hook up in Summer League and get that chemistry kind of started there. And I'm really excited about the other pieces, right? I'm excited about these other guys, the two-way guys that are fighting for jobs and fighting for their lives, and they're starting on the defensive end to show what they can do. They don't need to be double-figure scorers in Summer League. They just need to figure out what their strengths are and be able to guard from coast to coast. And so, yeah, I think even more than past years, I'm excited to get into Summer League, me and Bowler and the broadcast team, and start there, right? Talk about what we see and what we see in the future of some of these players, all these players, and not just from our team, right? From the other teams. I'm excited for the Boozer-Peterson matchup if it happens. So, yeah, a lot I've got a lot of on my list here, man, that I want to talk about. Might not get it all in edgewise because Bowler's got some things too, but we're gonna have fun.
Big T, this is the magic of live radio. You're joining us, and there's breaking NBA trade news. Are you ready?
Uh-oh.
All right,
yes, sir.
Here we go. The Boston Celtics have agreed to trade Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers in exchange for Paul George, 2 first-round picks, and 2 second-round picks, according to Shams. Coming across the wire like a minute ago, Thurl. What do you think?
Well, Philly just got better.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, man. I mean, what a crazy league. What an exciting league.
Seriously.
Though. I mean, it really is. I mean, if you're a basketball fan, you're on top of this. I know. I mean, you guys are because it's part of your job, but you're still fans, and it's fun to watch. Whether it's Giannis, whether it's LeBron, whether it's Walker Kessler. That's what makes this league great is just teams just trying to figure it out. And that's why as this game has evolved and these teams have all kind of tried to figure out the next move, that there's no sure, I mean, even the Knicks, they won the championship. That doesn't guarantee them a spot back in the finals because, you know, this league, the parity is just crazy who could be there next.
Thurl, tell us about Jam Fest. I'm super excited about this event. You're doing a little 3-on-3 tourney?
Yeah, the third year, man. We're so excited about this. We've grown every year, had about 200 teams last season, and it's, you know, I a couple seasons ago, I started in Lehigh. We outgrew Lehigh, so we moved to Sandy at that Sandy Promenade north of the shops of Southtown Mall. And it is just an incredible outdoor festival, not just with 3-on-3 street basketball, but we've got a bunch of divisions, but we've got 3-point contests, dunk contests, 1v1 king of the court. I mean, it's a great 2-day event on starting August 28th, going into August 29th. We've got folks coming in from Los Angeles, California, that California area, Nevada, Colorado, to participate in this. And it's just such a fun time to go out and have kids rediscover what outdoor street basketball is. So you can go to jamfestutah.com and sign up. It's $165 per team, 3 to 5 players per team, boys and girls. So from 8 to 18. So we're excited.
All right, Thurl. Taking John and Carl out of the conversation, build me a 3-on-3 team featuring Thurl Bagley, and you get to pick 2 teammates you played with in your career.
Teammates I played with in my career?
Yep.
Oh, man. Shoot. I would take Griff in a heartbeat.
Okay.
All right.
Because you know how important the 3 is now. Because I'm kicking it out to him. I'm still a small forward. So I'm going to take my big man. I'm going to go with Mark Eaton.
Okay,
got to have a little size. That's a big team.
Got to have some size.
Yeah, that's a big team.
Size. And I could guard, I don't know, 2 through 5. So I just plant Mark down there, throw him in. He throws that hook up. So
yeah, you guys are big.
That's a big team.
Yeah, we're big.
That's a big team.
I need a sub though.
Okay, who's your sub?
I need a sub. Guys I play with. Oh man, give me see we need a guard. We need a point guard. I'll take Ricky Green.
Okay. Yeah, fastest of them all.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I like it. So
we're winning. We're winning that.
Yeah, you're winning the whole thing. All right, that is jamfestutah.com. Jamfestutah.com going on August 28th and 29th in Sandy. Get signed up. It's going to be a blast. Heard Thurl say it's going to be a festival. Jamfestutah.com. Thurl, thank you very much for jumping on with us today. Kind of a big day in jazz world. We needed to hear what Thurl had to say.
Well, I appreciate it. And you guys need to put a team in, too. Or let's talk about you broadcasting from there.
We do it in a heartbeat, man. Yeah, we'll get Lloyd on it. We'll make it happen.
All right. Hey, I appreciate you guys.
Hey, thank you, Thurl. We appreciate you.
All right. See ya.
There you go, Thurl Bagley.
Man.
Getting his thoughts. And how about that? Hitting him with the trade mid-interview. Jaylen Brown on the move, going to Philly for Paul George, 2 firsts and 2 seconds. Ben, that strikes me as very little.
I really like doing the show with you because you look at things so differently than I do. And a sentence you said to me, well, this is like 6 months ago. You said, "Are we sure Boy Wonder's good at his job?" And you were talking about Brad Stevens.
Uh-huh.
It was like they won a title right after Danny Ainge left.
Right.
It's a little bit like a coach winning with the football team right after the other coach left.
Sonny Dice going to the title game right after Gary Patterson left, yeah.
Yeah, Urban Meyer winning in Utah. It's like, well, Ronnie Mack knew what he was doing also. The Celtics have just kind of continued to get worse.
Did the Jazz get more for Walker than the Celtics got?
It's
basically the same thing.
Paul George isn't worth 2 firsts, is he?
Paul George was, at points this season, people said, is this the worst contract in the NBA? Because he's got a ton of money.
No, Paul George is not part of this deal. He is, but that's not the value in this deal. The Celtics aren't going, get me Paul George. No.
The Celtics are worse today than they were yesterday. And yes, they got 2 firsts. But they got 2 firsts on a team that has Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe. And this is a good trade for the 76ers. I like this move.
I wonder if he takes a bite out of Maxey.
Absolutely. And VJ Edgecombe. He does, but he's the best player. He's better than those guys.
And
so it's fine with me.
Then they don't have to rely so much on Joel Embiid, which I'm sure
they've got to move they've got to turn the page.
I don't think they can.
Yeah, I don't know if they've got to stop thinking though of like, how do we build with Joel?
Oh, I think that's what this is about.
Yeah, right. You're not. Joel is on the team. He's not. He's in the LeBron James era now. Once you get Luka,
but legit, the Jazz got more for Walker Kessler than the Celtics got for Jaylen Brown.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, and if a good management style is to tick off the really good player enough that you have to trade him for half his value, then no, I don't think you're doing a good job.
In conference.
Yeah, in conference.
A real rival.
Right down the road.
A real rival. Man, are you sure you shouldn't have just included Baylor Shireman for Giannis? I think that would have been a better trade.
Or something else. This tells me there wasn't really a market for Jaylen. It's got to be all the money. Because he is a good player. He is a good player. Don't believe that Bobby Marks crap, 7th best player.
He must be a little bit of a headache. He just truly must be. He's getting on. He's talking to chat. Whatever he's doing, it's got to be part of it.
Insufferable has to be what it is. But no, they really did damage the relationship so much that they had to get him off the team. And listen, Lauri Markkanen's name has been in trade rumors for 3 years. There is a way that you can run your team and be open to trade deals without completely ruining relationships.
Correct.
Which did not happen in this case. You can be open to deals and can talk about players without totally scorching a relationship. But there you go. Brad Stevens, do you really know what you're doing?
Streaming with you guys, chat.
Who was it who said it? Real trades move in silence. I can't remember who said it. It was I know it's based on, is it Lil Wayne? Real G's move in silence like lasagna. Real trades move in silence. The Celtics failed that because the Giannis trade got out. I mean,
yeah. Well, the trade last year got out too for Kevin Durant.
It got out. The trying to trade Jaylen Brown got too noisy to the point where they just couldn't bring him back. They couldn't mend that fence, and then they had to take a bath. I mean, God, Paul George. How old is Paul George? He's been around forever. He was in the Gordon Hayward draft. Gordon Hayward's been out of the league for
a minute,
for a while now. Paul George is.
His coach at Fresno was Steve Cleveland. Steve's been retired for a minute. Yeah, Coach Cleve's the best, but he's been retired for a hot second. I think he's even done a senior mission.
Paul George is 36 years old.
Yeah, good trade, Boston.
I mean,
you're killing it.
Jaylen Brown's 29, I think. Like, he's a little bit older, don't get me wrong, but he's got 3 years of really good basketball left.
He was 6th in the MVP voting last year.
Yeah, the reason they won 55-ish, 56 games, whatever it was. Yeah,
Celtics killing it.
Oof.
Yeah, oof. But you know,
how cares when the picks are? I mean, hopefully they're deep in the future if you're a Celtics fan, but yeah, that stinks.
Well, to our point about Walker Kessler, Jaylen Brown is awesome, and he's got the wrong contract. Part of the reason that they're shipping him to Philly for nothing is because he's overpaid. As good as he is, $52 million with 2 more years after this one left on his deal is steep.
It's a spicy meatball.
Yeah, and Tatum's going to be steep. And so Boston had to pick their poison because you don't have the right guy at the right number. That is crucial in the NBA.
Let me see how much Paul George has left on his contract.
I think he's got 2 more years.
Yeah, it's a while. Let's see. Paul George has.
I think next year and the year after.
Scrolling. Paul.
By the way, shout out to Daryl Morey. What a signing that was. Genius.
Too bad he doesn't have a job. Yeah, he has 2 years, including a player option, which he'll be picking up at $57 million. Paul George makes 54.
At 38 years old?
Lord.
Paul George makes 54 next year and 56. Yeah, he's got $110 million over the next 2 years.
How did anybody think Daryl Morey was any good ever?
Yeah, right. No kidding.
Wow. Good signing, Daryl.
Yeah, he signed a 4-year, $212 million deal and has the majority of it left, and that's what the Celtics just got.
Man, they really wanted to be off Jaylen Brown so bad.
Let's see. We've also
so bad.
We have the picks. This just came down. A 2028 first-round pick that could convert from a first to a swap, and a 2031 unprotected first. And then the swaps are 2028 second most favorable from Golden State. Oh, second rounder. And who cares about the second round?
Where's the laugh track?
Yeah. I'm glad you used the big one. That was deserving of the big one.
Yeah. That's quite the haul. Quite the haul.
That wasn't the Darren Peterson one.
Both pretty good. All right, we'll take a break from the NBA,
Celtics,
kind of.
Come on.
Coming up next, we've got What You Got Wednesday.
Knicks might repeat.
Seriously. Stay tuned. Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Big T, what is going on?
What's up, Lil J, Lil B?
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
Just doing it big, you know.
Your home for the best sports radio for your afternoon drive is right here. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
What you got Wednesday? What's the deal? Jake's got rules, Ben's out to steal. Bozo takes their spinning around. Flush it down, flush it down.
Jacob Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. We'll get back to talking NBA, but it is Wednesday. That means it's time for What You Got Wednesday. If you're new to the show, Ben and I go head-to-head in 2 5-selection drafts, one sports-related and one not. Then we put it out on the Talk Snap for a vote. Christian and I went head-to-head last week. What are the results there, Christian?
Last week, best Utah Jazz or Kansas players, I beat you 79-21. And then best Pixar characters, I also won 79-21.
All right. I don't know if I feel right about taking both first, considering you weren't here. Should we split them?
You take them both. I don't care.
All right. Up to you. All right. What is our sports-related question today?
Today, we are going to go with best players to play for both the Jazz and the Lakers. There's more than you think.
You have to play for both the Jazz and the Lakers.
Yeah, not either. You wore both uniforms.
Is there an automatic number one pick?
Yes.
I think there is too. It's got to be Karl Malone, right?
The mailman.
Controversially, went to the Lakers. Left like a $25 million contract with the Jazz on the table to sign with the Lakers. And then they acquired Gary Payton and Glenn Rice.
And did not win a title.
Could not get over them. But still, Karl Malone, I think he's by far the best player on this list.
No question. One of a few Hall of Famers, but no question, Karl. Is there an obvious number 2? That's kind of the real question.
I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing somebody, but no, I don't think there's an obvious number 2.
I'll go with Adrian Dantley.
Yeah. Okay.
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I'm not.
Very good player.
I'm not arguing with
Always notable that, like, even, and I'm not throwing Thurl under the bus here. I'm not trying to get Thurl in trouble. But, like, when you ask who would you play with, like, Thurl Bailey,
Mm-hmm.
Adrian Dantley's the other Hall of Famer he played with in his career, and he did not pick him to play with.
Well, he hogged the ball, man.
No, I don't know. I don't know how many people loves AD.
He hogged that ball.
But Adrian Dantley.
All right, well, let's continue to play this game because I'm a little conflicted. Is there an automatic number 3?
You start getting into, like, favorites. Likables, I think.
Okay.
Because there's some real unlikables on this
Real
list.
unlikables. Yeah, there definitely are. I'm going to take Carlos Boozer.
Okay, that's who I had actually number 2 on my board. So, but I decided to go with Dantley. Boozer finished his career in L.A.
Right.
In fact, if you go to his basketball reference page, I think he's in a Lakers uniform, which is funny. It's not how anyone remembers him.
No.
Good pick. All right, I will go with the last of the quote-unquote, like, good players. I'm selecting them because they were really good players. And I'll go with Gail Goodrich, who did cost the Jazz Magic Johnson.
And
not great.
Yeah, see, that's why you even know Gail Goodrich, because he stinks.
But had been a very good player at one point in his career.
I'm going to go with this one because it's going to give me a zillion votes. I'm going for our guy, Ron Bruce Boone.
Yep, I got him on my list as well.
Ron Boone.
This is where I was debating. I was either going to go Gail, who was a 5-time All-Star and a Hall of Famer also, or our guy.
I'm going to take the Booner, man.
Good pick. All right. I will go with another fan favorite in the news, Jordan Clarkson. Started his career with the Lakers.
I'm shocked you didn't pick him one.
Went with Cleveland, came to the Jazz. Jordan Clarkson.
I thought you'd go with him over Adrian Dantley. I'm going to go with Wes Matthews.
Yep, I've got him on my list.
Wes had a great career, considering he was undrafted.
He really goes underrated as one of the greatest all-time undrafted players.
Jerry loved him. And they lost him in restricted free agency. That's kind of one of the what-ifs out there of the Boozer-Williams era. What if they were able to keep Wesley Matthews?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was not all that those teams was missing, but he was part. He would have been a much better player than Ronnie Brewer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Could play defense, really shot the three.
Yeah.
Awesome player. All right, I'll go with Brian Russell.
Don't call him Byron.
B. Russ was a legitimately very good Jazz player. He's probably the fourth best player on those Jazz teams that made the finals. Remembered for the wrong thing, but B. Russ was great. Not great, but really good.
All right.
Lost with Karl Malone, right, on the 03-04 Lakers team to the Pistons, I believe.
All right, dude. Who was the better player out of these two? You know what? I'm going to go with Larry Kryskowiak. Crisco.
Oh, I see we've reached the not getting votes for these picks anymore.
Crisco wasn't terrible.
No, but he's not beloved in Utah.
He's not hated in Utah either.
Was that your last pick? Was that Jake's last pick?
That was my last pick.
No, he's not hated. I agree with you.
And he was quite popular when he was a Jazz man. He was Carl's backup, which everybody always seemed to like Carl's backup and hate John's for some reason. I know. Do you see the real player you should pick here is?
Do I want the one guy who's
totally unpopular?
Do I want the guy who's now currently going to jail?
Uh-huh.
Or do I want the guy who absolutely everybody hates?
Who is the right answer, by the way? You should pick the one everybody hates, but it is going to lose you votes. But that is the correct answer on this list.
But I'm going to completely zag.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Jared Vanderbilt, who people did like.
The Vandalorian.
Even though he only played like 40 games for the Utah Jazz. And is actually still currently a member of the Los Angeles Lakers. And there's probably a world. In fact, I'm sure his name was discussed on a phone call this morning of whether or not he comes back to the Utah Jazz or if the Jazz just want to get a trade exception back for Walker Kessler.
By the way, two people on this list could be facing jail that you didn't pick.
Ed Davis played for the Lakers?
Yep.
Okay.
And Malik Beasley. And the actual, if you were picking as far as best players go, you would have taken Derek Fisher. But
Correct. Not taking him.
No.
Do I want to lose the draft? I want to have a chance. By the way, we probably could have taken Walker, though Walker has yet to play. The same way.
I honestly didn't count Walker.
I'm with you. The same way, like, technically, Russell Westbrook was a member of the Jazz and the Lakers, but never played for the Jazz. So I'm with you.
Walker
has yet to play for the Lakers.
Not just play. He hasn't even signed with the Lakers.
Correct.
So, in fact, I guess there's a chance this trade could go south before it's completed.
Who knows? Maybe something falls apart.
All
Max Crosby style.
Review.
Jake, you had the number one pick. You went Karl Malone, Carlos Boozer, Ron Boone, Wesley Matthews, and Larry Kraskowiak. Ben, you went Adrian Dantley, Gail Goodrich, Jordan Clarkson, Brian Russell, and Jared Vanderbilt.
Greg Foster, erasure.
I thought about Greg, but he really was terrible. I mean, he was
really bad with the Lakers.
Was a really terrible player for the Jazz.
But did win a title, I think, with the Lakers.
I think he did too, but not because of Greg Foster.
Yeah. That's a fun list. There's more relevant names there than I thought.
That have played for both. It gets a little light. You didn't go with VHT.
Oh, that's a good pick.
Or Rhodey Price.
Oh, yeah.
Danny Shays.
Okay.
Damian Jones. Neither one of us picked Hot Dog. Taylor Horton-Tucker.
Oh, Hot Dog.
Could have gone with Mel Counts if we wanted to go real old school. Mo Bamba.
Mo Bamba. Yeah, that would have been fun. Got the best song named after him.
La Bamba was before Mo was born.
Different song.
There's a song called Mo Bamba?
Oh, yeah. It's like one of the biggest songs of the last 10 years. Could we play it coming back?
Is it?
I'll find a clean version.
Yeah.
Is it written by LeVar's son?
I don't believe so.
Because he's a rapper, right?
He's a rapper.
The one who stole sunglasses in China?
Yes.
Who did Mo Bamba?
His name is Shaq West.
Yeah.
Rapper. Kind of washed out, honestly.
But you will know this song. This song absolutely
I actually
slams.
don't think I can find a clean version.
You can't find an instrumental version of Mo Bamba.
Yeah, I'll find instrumental, I guess.
All right, this next one. I'm really excited about this draft. Ben, let's start this. Christian, what is our not sports draft for today?
Gentlemen, not only is it the 4th of July, this Saturday, it is going to be the great 250th 4th of July. So we're going to go with great Americans.
We're just drafting Americans. I'm kind of excited about the 250, Ben. I don't know.
You're geeked about it.
I don't know if you are, but I'm kind of excited about it. I think it's cool.
It is very cool.
I always ask my parents what they did on the bicentennial, you know? Anyway, is there...
Well, what's the answer?
What?
What'd your parents
do?
Oh, but I don't even remember
9
now.
months before Jake was born.
That's not true. It was several years before I was born. My old man told me just this weekend, and now I can't forget or can't remember. Anyway.
Can't forget.
Obviously can forget. But it's cool. You're not into it?
I am into it. Yeah, I'll celebrate.
Do you have decorations?
I have a tablecloth out already. I didn't remember that we bought a tablecloth.
Christian, are you going to decorate?
Yeah. Wife's texting me right now. What are we making?
Oh, great.
Yeah, we're going to grill. We're going to do the whole thing.
Yeah, man, dogs.
All right. Is there an automatic number one pick?
There's not.
I don't think so either. But
thankfully, there's probably a favorite, but there's not an automatic number one pick because 250 years of greatness.
Got to go with the father of the country, though. George
it's
Washington.
Absolutely the easy answer.
Did so many amazing things, militarily, and then, setting the precedent that the president leaves after 2 terms and really getting the country off to a stable start when that wasn't necessarily a guaranteed thing. Got to go with George Washington.
I told you yesterday when I was questioning the name of our country that I went to a museum and they had one of Thomas Paine's Common Sense books, just like one of the most important books in U.S. history, world history. Next to it, they had the face plaster, like a real face plaster of George Washington, and it's like there's an aura to it still. Yeah. Like that's one of the great people of all time.
And he was a great military commander, which sometimes gets second banana because he was the first president, I guess deservedly so, but George Washington.
He was president because he was such a good commander.
Yeah.
And he was a very good president.
In crazy circumstances. I mean, imagine defeating the world's most powerful army when you were totally outgunned and outmanned and all those things.
Right. All right, and then I'll go with Honest Abe.
Yeah.
Who had the next great accomplishment, and some maybe say the greatest accomplishment, somehow sewing this whole thing back together when it had completely splintered.
You could make that argument. I agree.
So Abe Lincoln.
All right, where do I want to go next? See, I think it kind of opens up.
It really does.
After you get the big
That's
two,
the John and Carl of the United
presidents
States.
Off the board. All right. Wow, now I feel like I'm really, no matter who I say, I'm blowing it because somebody's gonna scream like, "What are you doing?" But you know what? I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna go to Susan B. Anthony.
Okay.
Basically, the mother of the suffrage movement and got women the vote. Susan B. Anthony.
And I will go with MLK for the same reason, as far as the reason this country is great is because the idea is we celebrate everybody equally. And Susan B. Anthony believed that, and MLK believed that, and that's why it's part of what I believe in with this country. So I appreciate the efforts of both of those people.
Always trying to get better, Ben.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Always
and
trying to get better.
These two people believed it.
I'm
followed through.
Certainly not going to argue with MLK.
Well,
come on. No. All right. I'm going with lifestyle here. Like, this American may have had more effect on everybody's daily life than anybody else. Thomas Edison.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. What we are doing today, there is a straight line from Thomas Edison. It kind of got the ball rolling, like straight line.
In a variety of different ways. If you've looked at all his different inventions, you'd be shocked what he came up with. It has an effect on almost probably everything that you do on a daily basis.
The Wright brothers. Can I take both? That's all right.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you want to pick Wilbur or Orville?
Like one
who's more important?
Give me the Wright brothers. Again, it's just I every time I travel, I land in Salt Lake or wherever, and I'm like, I woke up on the other side of the world. And 100 years ago, they were like, what if we can get this crazy machine off the ground? And now we're doing it at supersonic speeds.
For obvious reasons, I'm incredibly familiar with their story. It did not happen in Kitty Hawk.
Jake was a pilot before.
No,
he did it with a radio host.
Kitty Hawk is on the Outer Banks.
From where you spent time as a child.
Yeah, so every summer. So I've been to that monument many times. You know who was the first one to fly?
Who?
Orville.
Okay.
You know how they decided? Coin flip. And then Wilbur had the longest flight.
Okay.
And Wilbur was probably the better engineer. Although maybe that's not fair.
Okay.
But that's pretty cool. You know why they picked the Outer Banks? Because it was extraordinarily windy.
I was going to say, it's got to be the wind, right?
And it was just covered in sand.
Okay.
So
you could crash easy.
Yeah, exactly.
But the wind would help.
Right.
Okay.
So I like that pick. Well done. All right.
Like that?
Is this 4 for me, Christian? All right. I'm going to go with Mark Twain.
Okay. I'm glad you got an artist.
I think I debated a couple artists, but I'm going to go with Mark Twain.
Great. Yeah,
and
my father-in-law was born in the same town Mark Twain was born in.
Oh, that's awesome.
Elmira, New York.
And Mark Twain also has some Utah connections. He came out here. Mark Twain.
It's kind of the conscience of the country for a little bit there, and a great satirist, and just an amazing writer. Yeah, good pick. All right, I will go with Benjamin Franklin. No problem. I mean, on top of the scientist, but writer, politician, the understanding that, like, all of these founding fathers that we talk about were, like, 27 years old. But Ben Franklin was like, no, I'm old. I can actually go and talk to England. Like, I have so much respect around the country, around the world, that I can actually guide you and kind of be the grandfather of all of this while all you kids figure it out. He really got them in line. He's remarkable.
I like it that his most critical role in the revolution, somebody told him, they're like, we're going to need you to go to France and seduce as many women as you possibly can.
Which apparently he slayed. Apparently that guy had it.
Of course, Ben was like, I'll do what I got to do. I'll do what I got to do.
Couldn't pick anybody else.
I'll take 40 or 50
country.
for the team everywhere I go. Absolutely.
Okay, my next pick, I don't know if it will get me any votes, but he really is kind of, in a way, the Forrest Gump of his time. I'm going to go with Davy Crockett.
Okay.
Like, politician, mountain man, found his way, almost happenstance, to be involved in one of the country's most iconic moments at the Alamo, even though it wasn't technically our country yet. Davy Crockett. He was a senator from Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I like that Disney movie. It had a good song.
Like that?
Great pick. And I will go with another Frontiers person, even though we don't talk about him that way. but also I think deserve absolutely important representation. Give me Sacagawea.
Okay.
Helped get to the West. Helped Lewis and Clark get there. They may have not gotten there without her. So opened up pathways for the expansion of our country, which is obviously so important, not just for moving that direction, but eventually leading to the railroads. And the natives absolutely deserve a ton of credit for what we've built. So,
all right, Christian, review.
Jake, you had the number one pick. You led off with George Washington, Susan B. Anthony, Thomas Edison, Mark Twain, and Davy Crockett. Ben went Abe Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., the Wright brothers, Benjamin Franklin, and Sacagawea.
You didn't take Truman. I didn't take FDR, who are probably our
favorite
go-to presidents. But we got pretty good ones in George and Abe.
The other, now Truman was a war hero as well as a president, but I thought Ike Eisenhower, because he did win World War II and then was a consequential president.
Yes.
Who else did I think? I thought Frederick Douglass. In the arts, I was still thinking Frank Lloyd Wright.
Yeah.
Probably the best American greatest American architect. Who else did we miss? Christian, who else would you have gone with?
Hamilton.
Okay.
Not just because of the play.
No one's had better PR in the last 20 years as far as their history than Alexander Hamilton.
Oh, that's for sure. Almost forgotten.
Forgotten. Other than like the milk commercial. That was the other thing he was most known for in our lifetime, is the Got Milk commercial of who shot Alexander Hamilton, and the guy couldn't answer it because he had his mouth full of donuts or whatever it was.
Thomas J. could have been up there.
Thomas Jefferson, absolutely. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like there were so many. People are probably just screaming, howling about who we left off.
Voicemails.
Yeah, send voicemails. Who did we miss? All right. We'll have more straight ahead. We'll get back to talking NBA. It's the Jake and Ben Show. Audio Vault next. Oh, we've got a good Audio Vault, too,
Do we?
Ben.
Okay,
yeah,
I
we
found
do.
one. Okay.
All right, stay tuned. 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did you have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
No crazy soundbite slips past these guys.
I came here for the same reason people go to the zoo.
This is another edition of the Audio Vault with Jake and Ben. Jake and Ben on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I don't think I've heard this song, dude.
Okay.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
If you got a nice, big, loud speaker in your car, song goes hard, as the kids say.
Okay. Well, I'm sure the lyrics are lovely, but apparently we can't play them. It's time for the Audio Vault here on the Jake and Ben Show, the best sound of the day. And I'm super excited for this, especially since Ben has not heard it.
Mm-hmm.
Coach and Scotty were up in Logan for Pac-12 Day.
Okay.
It's the Utah State's first day in the Pac-12. They were making a big deal. And, had a bunch of Utah State stuff with Scotty G and the coach, including the head football coach at I almost said BYU, the former BYU coach, but Bronco Mendenhall was on with those guys.
Okay.
Now, I knew that Tim was an American Fork caveman.
Mm-hmm.
I did not realize, or at least I did not remember, that Bronco Mendenhall also went to American Fork High School.
I didn't know that either.
So Tim, and you know Tim, he's very charismatic. He's very outgoing. Listen to what he was able to get Bronco to do on the interview today.
Okay.
I'm sure. Dear old AFI, yes, we will love you till we die. Our banner's bright of red and white will be a beacon through the night. Yeah,
we
right
got
there.
Mm-hmm. My favorite part, though, is coming up. Dramatic arts.
Football and track.
We'll
always bring the honors back. So sing your praises to the sky.
Bronco
we'll
and I will always fight for
AFI.
Go. So anyway, that's our shout out for the...
I love Bronco. I love Coach. Every once in a while, Bronco will cut loose. So good for Coach for getting it. No one's better at getting people to cut loose than Tim LaComb.
Or at least relax a little bit.
At least relax a little bit.
I would never in a million years have predicted
We'd get Bronco Mendenhall singing on air?
Bronco Mendenhall would be singing on the radio. I mean, yeah, Bronco is a little less uptight than his rep.
Yes.
But I would have bet you $1,000 that he would never sing on the radio. I'm shocked.
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked.
And now we can play it forever. That's the problem with doing radio.
And my favorite part...
While it's temporary and news breaking, it is permanent once you record it.
My favorite part of it, even, though, is Bronco stopping and being like, ha, 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 that was way
Enough of
fun.
that.
And Tim was like, no, my favorite part's coming up. We can't stop now.
And Bronco gets right back into it.
Dives right back in.
Do you know any of your school songs?
I know the first part of the Skyline song.
Okay.
Cheer and Root Together were from Skyline.
Okay.
That's
Christian, do you know your songs?
I do not remember the Box Elder Bees fight song.
What about SUU?
I don't think so. I think I know the Scotsman better than SUU's fight song.
That's
honestly.
producing all those Utah State games.
Right.
I've never known a fight song of any school I've ever been to.
Yeah, it's like Cheer.
Does Slick have a fight song?
Yes. I don't know it, but of course somebody has it.
No offense to our guys.
But yeah,
it's like
they
a good sports college for the NJCAA or whatever.
But then it did remind, and shout out to Lloyd who helped us out on this one. It did remind us of the time that right here on these very airwaves, Lavelle Edwards sang the Beaver fight song for fictional Beaver.
I'm a beaver, slap my tail real hard, chew the bark and build the dam. The beaver man is what I am. Oh, I'm a beaver.
I can't take it.
Those two together
Are amazing.
were so funny.
Yeah. What a relationship.
You hear Ronnie laughing in the background. It's just great. We still hear Ronnie, on the air. He's great.
And shout out to Lavelle Edwards, who honestly, and I don't know, Lavelle's famous for the scowl, right? He was so funny. He was a really funny guy with a great sense of humor and the ability to kind of tease and have some fun.
Slick does not have a fight song. You were right, Christian. I'm embarrassed.
Why?
I figured we would have one.
Of all the things you get wrong on this radio show, that is what is embarrassing you?
Well, I have great pride in the Salt Lake Community College and being an alumnus.
Okay.
And
you didn't know they didn't have a fight song, so what?
I thought they would have had one. I thought they were a real institution.
They are a real institution. I've been there.
Can you be without a fight song?
Yes.
I don't know. Debatable.
Yes, you can. Do you think, what about those, what am I thinking of? Western governors. They don't have a fight song, probably.
We will cheer for red and white, our fighting SUU. Hear our battle cry echo through the sky as our team comes blazing through. Yada, yada, yada. Does that sound familiar at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go T-Birds. Go Birds.
They will fight, fight, fight when they hear us shout. As we sing our victory song, we will run, we will score, till the thunder roars, and the T-Birds win once more. Go, 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 fight, 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 win T-Birds.
Well, if they're only singing that song when they get victories, no wonder Christian has no idea what it is. The SUU's never blazed through anybody.
Cheap shot.
Fact.
All right.
What league are they in now?
Back in the Big Sky.
Back in the Big Sky, that's right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's probably the right place for them.
That's a big deal.
Well, the Big Sky is quite good, so.
Won't be singing too much of the fight song.
No, I doubt it. All right, Live at 5 coming up next. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
I'm sure. Dear old AFI, yes, we will love you till we die. Our banner's bright of red and white. We'll be a beacon through the night. Oh, yeah,
we
right
got
there.
It. My favorite part, though, is coming up. Dramatic arts.
Football and track.
Football and track.
We'll always bring the honors back. We'll sing your praises to the sky.
Bronk
we'll
and
always
I will always fight for
AFI.
Go, go. So anyway, that's our shout-out for the
station period.
Let's be honest. These guys have the best job on the planet.
You come to work in a frickin' bathrobe?
So if you're out there working hard, you should also expect your radio hosts to put in an honest day's work. So of course, Jake and Ben are live at 5 with the biggest headlines and the best analysis in Utah. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. Better version of this song, Guns N' Roses or Wings?
Wings.
Oh, stop it. Get out of here. I did not expect that. I wouldn't have asked the question. That's frustrating. What a way to start a segment. Live at 5, brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary, 855-TRAJAN-1, or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. The latest story of the day at KSLSports.com, Ben, talking about the Mammoth making their trade today, making a trade with New York for Vincent Trochek and sending out Sean Durzi, Cole Beaudoin, and a third-round pick.
And then also went and signed Anders Lee, which is a pretty big acquisition. They shook up their team quite a bit. Some big offensive players. So
the biggest story of the day, Ben, the Jazz end up doing a sign and trade with the LA Lakers. One that involves Walker Kessler, so we knew that he was going to be interested in a big contract with the Lakers. We wondered if it was going to be the Jazz match. The Jazz don't. Well, it turned out to be option number 3. That is a sign and trade, 2 firsts and 2 pick swaps, Ben.
Sign and trades don't generally yield huge returns, to be honest with you. The Jazz, I think, did end up signing and trading Carlos Boozer.
They did.
But to the Bulls.
But that's usually just for, what do they call that? A trade exception.
Trade exception, which the Jazz did get a trade exception today also. But a lot of times that's what you get. You just get a trade exception back, which then you can use as a piece to go out and acquire somebody else for equal value. Gordon Hayward famously did not sign and trade to the Boston Celtics
Refused
to generate.
to do it.
Which it doesn't cost the team sending it out anything.
True bitter move.
True bitter move. Like, it's just kind of a nice thing to do. That team essentially says, like, well, I get an IOU to use in the next trade.
Well, that's what Carlos did. He did the Jazz a solid, and he did the sign and trade, and they used that trade exception to land Al Jefferson.
The Jazz get a trade exception in this deal equal to half of Walker Kessler's first-year contract, depending on how the contract is designed. If it's front-loaded or back-loaded, that could change. Front-loaded actually would probably be beneficial for the Jazz. It means they have more money in a trade exception, but that's not what the Jazz did this for. The Jazz decided that Walker Kessler was not as valuable as 2 first-round draft picks and 2 pick swaps, which is what they got from the Los Angeles Lakers. 2031, 2033 unprotected firsts. Pretty big swing by the Lakers to give up that type of that quality of draft capital. And then 2 swaps coming up in 2028 and 2030. So that's also opportunities for the Jazz to get better. They now have 2 swaps in 2028. They will get the best of their own pick, the Cavaliers pick, or the Lakers pick. So it's kind of a super swap is what they call it. Good value there for the Jazz. But inarguably, the Jazz lose a starting caliber center who's only 24 years old with some real room to get better, which is why the Jazz had put a 5-year, nearly $140 million deal on the table for him.
Just one amendment to what you said. They value those picks over Walker Kessler, which, again, this is why an amendment. I'm not disagreeing with you, but Walker Kessler at that price.
Correct.
They valued those picks over Walker Kessler at the 32.5 AAV.
Yeah.
Which, if you look at the other side, let's say they signed the offer sheet and the Jazz just matched. They come away with no picks and an overpaid player.
Correct.
So they still have their center, but they have their center at a cost that they don't want that could potentially cost them opportunity with other players down the road.
Yeah, there's a world where the worst case scenario that could have happened for the Jazz was Walker coming back at the wrong price. Mm-hmm. That might actually be worse than losing him for nothing. I know that's hard to imagine, but losing a player for nothing, while a tough pill to swallow the summer it happens, allows you to have all this other flexibility, make other moves, keep guys around. I mean, Gordon Hayward felt like worst case scenario when he left for nothing. Jazz just filled this space with Donovan Mitchell and Ricky Rubio stepped up and all these things, then it actually ended up being okay. Had they overpaid for somebody that they ended up not wanting, say that's Gordon Hayward or whatever, or now in this case Walker Kessler, there's a chance where that hamstrings, and like Andre Karolinka, which you brought up, I think is a very apt comparison, it really caps how good your team can be because you don't have the flexibility financially anymore to add pieces, make changes, make trades. You end up in a spot where you lose other players potentially as a result. That could be Keontae George, if you pay the wrong guy, or maybe you decide you have to move off from Lauri Markkanen, who's a better player than Walker Kessler. So by not paying Walker, the Jazz maintained that flexibility, but they also did not let him leave for nothing. In fact, they got a ton of draft capital for him.
Ton of draft capital. The downside is they're going to go into the season without a center, or at least that's how it would look at the moment because the Jazz turned around and signed Jackson Hayes, but that is no means a replacement for Walker Kessler.
No, Yusuf Nurkic is your starting center.
At the moment. And by the way, that's not suitable either. But
no, there's an argument that Yusuf Nurkic is the worst starting center in the NBA.
The leverage from the Jazz came with it was a game of chicken. It was which team is going to go into the season sans a center or at least a functional center. And the Jazz said, well, if that's going to be us, we're going to take these picks from you, which makes it worth it, in my opinion. I mean, it's some short-term cost for long-term gain. And the Jazz don't have to pay Walker Kessler $32.5 million a year when they're not sure that he's worth that. And by the way, if he's not worth that, that makes it even harder to trade because everybody would go, oh, yeah, well, then you just move off it a couple of years down the line.
And one of the things I do think people are going to get wrong here is the number is actually not $32.5 million. The number, if the Jazz were going to match, probably would have been 38 or 39.
It would have been way higher. Yeah, this is a negotiated rate for the Lakers.
So the Lakers come to the Jazz. This is where the Lakers have leverage and where the Jazz have leverage. This is how this conversation works. The Lakers come to the Jazz and say, we're going to pay Walker and he's going to be in Los Angeles. Or we're at least going to sign him to an offer sheet. How much pain are the Jazz willing to suffer to match that offer sheet? And they said, okay, we'll give him 38 or 39 million. And the Jazz have to decide exactly what you're talking about. Oh, am I willing to swallow that pill? $39 million is a lot. And the Jazz go to the Lakers and say, we're probably not comfortable offering that. Now, the truth is the Lakers don't want to pay him $39 million either.
No, they don't.
So the Lakers say, well, we'll shave a little money off of his offer sheet, and we'll give you some draft picks if you promise not even not match, but just do the sign and trade.
Right.
So you can send them to us. And the Jazz say, okay, we will do that. And then you have to get to the number where Walker's camp is happy. They say $32.5 million. And the Jazz say, great, we get draft picks. The Lakers say, great, we shaved $6 million off of what our top-end offer was going to be. And Walker says, great, I get $5 million more per year than what the Jazz were offering. That's kind of how the whole thing comes to this level. I can almost guarantee you that's exactly what happened. But if the Jazz had not been willing to come to the table with the sign and trade to get these draft picks, there's probably an offer on the table that Walker's waiting to sign on July 6th of $38 or $39 million.
I agree.
And then the Jazz have to sign him or lose him for nothing.
But Walker's people had very little say in it, I bet. I bet it was total negotiation between the Jazz and the Lakers because Walker, all the Lakers had to do was come in north of what the Jazz were offering.
Yeah, there was no other place for Walker to go.
Right, there's no other thing for him to do. So Walker actually got squozed a little bit. But yeah, the reason I think that they picked Walker over Jalen Duren is because Detroit was never going to let Jalen Duren go. They just as soon max him out. The Jazz were never going to max out Walker. So there had to be a too expensive point for the Jazz with Walker Kessler. And I'm sure the Lakers said, well, we'll just go, Price is Right style. We'll go 5 cents over your breaking point. And the Jazz said, how about we just negotiate it down to you get a more reasonable deal and we get draft picks out of it. And they said sold. Why did the Jazz, as long as Walker was going to sign for more than they were offering, the Jazz don't care about how much they punished the Lakers for signing a bad contract. Maybe they should. I mean, that would have been the vindictive move. But this seems like a much more favorable outcome to me than the Jazz, for both teams, than the Jazz just punishing the Lakers by making them sign a bad deal.
Yes, exactly right. No question about it. This is a good thing for the Lakers. Not paying Walker with, I don't know how much. I'll have to look at their books going forward.
They could have paid him the full 41 if they wanted.
Right. And they may have had to get the Jazz to not match.
Right.
But then you are overpaying Walker by potentially $14 or $15 million. That's a ton. That's a ton of money to overpay somebody if he doesn't live up to the contract. If he doesn't live up to this contract, it's still a lot, but $32 million looks a lot better than $41 million. So, yes, the Lakers are happy to come down from whatever their highest end offer was, but it cost them 2 very significant draft picks. And the Jazz were happy to not be stuck with a $40 million or $39 million starting center who's probably supposed to be the 5th best player on the team in a couple of years, if not next year. Obviously Jaren's better. Obviously Lowry's better. There's a chance Keontae's better. And then we'll see if either of the young guys steps up and can improve past him. But, Walker was going to get paid like the 3rd highest paid player, and there was no pathway for him to be the 3rd best player on the team. There is a pathway for him to be the 3rd best player on the Lakers. And actually, if he is your 3rd best player, $32 million is not that crazy. And starting center, $32 million is not that crazy. But I do worry that the Lakers no longer have the draft capital or wiggle room financially to get better, at which case you're probably in a little bit of trouble.
Well, and then you put in the Jazz comp in perspective with the blockbuster trade that came down about an hour ago while we were mid-convo with Thurl Big T Bailey. The Celtics are trading Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers for Paul George, 2 first-round picks, and 2 second-round picks. You can make an argument, and probably a good one, the Jazz got more for Walker Kessler than the Celtics got in exchange for Jaylen Brown.
The Jazz did not eat any bad salary.
Nope.
The Jazz didn't have to take even DeAndre Ayton back. The Jazz did not take Jared Vanderbilt back. The Jazz got that trade exception that we talked about, half of Walker's first-year contract, that they can now use to go out and acquire a guard. They can use it to acquire a wing. If somebody's just trying to dump salary and says, man, we got to cut $15 million. How do we do it? And the Jazz say, oh, look, we have $15 million. And it doesn't actually cost the Jazz anything going out the door. They have to pay the player $15 million when he comes back. But essentially, it's just a paper sheet that says this is equal to $15 million that we're trading.
You can go over the salary cap. So when both teams are over the cap and you make a trade, you have to be within 10%. This changes that. Correct. So you can go over the cap this amount to trade for this player.
Yes.
That's essentially what a trade exception
but
is.
But it essentially functions as a gift card.
Right.
Kind of how I would compare it.
It helps you eat a bad contract, or he helps you eat a high contract and not have to send that kind of money back in exchange. The Jazz, I can't remember exactly what they traded back for Al Jefferson, but the reason they were able to make it work was because his salary, they could totally eat his salary.
Just eat it.
Yeah. And
without cap space.
Without cap space.
Because, yes, the way the Lakers are doing this is they are just trading Walker into cap space.
Yeah.
They're just using him basically like signing him as a free agent. In fact, technically this is a signing. Well, I guess it's a sign and trade. So the Jazz are signing him, and they take him into space. The Jazz did this with, I can't remember who they did it with recently. It wasn't Jaren. But, yeah, you can sign guys into space, essentially, the cap space that you have, which is, yes, what you're saying the Lakers are doing. When you have a trade exception, it basically expands your space that you can take them in for.
Exactly.
That's a good explanation by you. So, yes, compared to the Boston Celtics, like, there's a world where Walker Kessler is the 50th best player in the NBA. Like, I believe that. He's a great rebounder. He's a good shot blocker. He scores extremely efficiently. He plays within himself. Those guys have value. He could be the 50th most valuable player in the NBA next season. I really believe that. Jaylen Brown is like the 10th best player in the league today.
Right now.
You have him on your team. I think you win 50 games. In fact, I think he just proved that with the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
And they traded him also for 2 picks and 2 second-rounders. 2 first-rounders and 2 second-rounders.
I'll take pick swaps over second-rounders any day. Pick swaps way more valuable.
And, over second-rounders? Yeah, nothing. And the Jazz's picks are further out in the future, which has more value. The 2028 pick that the Celtics are getting here, while these new lottery rules make it all a little bit of a crapshoot, which has some value, the belief would be that the 76ers, after trading for Jaylen Brown, will probably be pretty good 2 years from now. Now, I think there's
at very
also
least make the playoffs.
A Clippers pick in here, and maybe the Clippers pick ends up being more valuable, and the Celtics do get to pick between those. Which one's more valuable? But having picks further out where there's more mystery tied to them makes them more valuable. So the Jazz got 2 really good assets that they can now use to build their team or hold on to and eventually draft. I would be surprised if that's what they do. But they do have to go back to the drawing board to figure out what their long-term center is going to be, and that's what Walker Kessler represented.
I'm going to laugh so hard if Boston sucks next year. Because Jaylen Brown was the only player on the team and they still took second in the East and won 50 games. Now they moved Jaylen Brown and bet it all on Jason Tatum. It'd be funny if they sucked.
I think to this point in their careers, Jason Tatum has been a better player. However, Jason Tatum just suffered the one injury in the NBA that nobody ever wants to suffer. The torn Achilles, while Kevin Durant has proven you can come back from it, has historically been a death sentence in the NBA. And clearly the technology and the surgery and the science behind it has all gotten way better. And I hope Jason Tatum has a long career. But Jason Tatum being a better player pre-Achilles may not be the case post-Achilles. I don't know. I don't know if we know. So it's a big, big swing from the Boston Celtics.
I don't know. Swing. How do they? They're a worse team today. I mean, where's the swing? Where's the payoff?
Right. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not even a swing.
If anything, I think
fly.
Anything, I think it's a big swing for Philadelphia, bringing that salary into an already crowded locker room where production is going to be at a premium. I mean, who's going to score 25 a game for them? They have 4 candidates.
Correct. And all of them want touches.
And all of them want the ball in their hand,
and
including
by the way,
Joel Embiid.
One of the flaws for trading for Jaylen Brown was he has every right to come in and demand that it's his team. He was just the star of the Celtics that won 54 games. He is a finals MVP. Other than Joel, he's going to be the highest paid player on this team. He's 29 years old. And you just gave up X, Y, and Z to get him. Those guys generally come in thinking, it's my turn. So Jaylen Brown
Get out of the way, guys.
Yeah, Jaylen Brown's going into Philly to say it's my turn. The good news for Philly is he might be good enough to do that.
Yeah,
That's the value.
Bad news for VJ Edgecombe.
Tough for VJ. Tough for VJ.
Bad news for him.
That might not be the best day VJ Edgecombe's ever had.
No, because if they have to divide up who's going to take a haircut from a production standpoint, he's going to be third in line. Yeah,
he's at best.
If Joel plays.
If Joel plays, he's probably, then he falls to fourth. Fourth guy generally doesn't get a huge payday. But, yeah, a toughie. But, yeah, going back to the Jazz and this Walker Kessler trade, it's a step back today, but it opens up a potentially much larger future, and I would suspect one the Jazz address before the end of the year. I would suspect the Jazz have their future starting center before the end of this coming season.
Or at least a better temporary one.
Well, Nurk and Jackson Hayes are exactly what you just said. They are temporary.
What about Steven Adams? Bring him in.
I kind of honestly wondered about Steven Adams. Now, he was so critical to what the Rockets did when he was healthy, and he's so rarely healthy.
But he's huge.
He is huge, and he's really tough. He's really mean, and has played next to Jaren Jackson Jr., and there's proof of concept there.
If you're going to have somebody crappy, at least make them huge.
Yeah.
Like Jackson Hayes isn't very big.
No, he's not.
Nurk is at least huge.
Yeah, he is huge. Big, tough person.
We'll see where they go.
Trade for Zach Edey.
No, don't do that.
We'll see if Zach plays. Rooting for Zach. By the way, we now look back, and again, the reason Memphis took him at 9 is because the belief was the Jazz were going to take him at 10 over Cody Williams. Like, you see now the line of thought there for the Utah Jazz was that if we run into this spot with Walker Kessler, we have a solution. That's what the Jazz were thinking. Zach Edey would have just been sliding into that Walker Kessler position. In fact, the Jazz probably would have traded Walker Kessler last year before they got to this point. But we'll see. Jazz, I suspect, the Jazz realize that not having a defensive-minded center next to Jaren Jackson Jr. is untenable. In fact, you're wasting what Jaren Jackson Jr. does well by not having it. So you have to address it. It's not a conversation. It's not, well, maybe you don't. You have to address a better starting center for the Jazz going forward, and you probably can't wait that long.
Well, why can't wait that long? I don't necessarily disagree, but what's the logic there? They can wait forever.
Well, you only have Jaren for 3 years.
Yeah, 3 years is a long time in the NBA.
It is. But you can't wait until February 2028 to make that decision.
Probably not. But all they have to find is serviceable. They don't need a star.
No, you don't. You don't need a star. You're not going. No one has 5 stars in their starting lineup, and the Jazz are looking right now, hoping that Jaren Jackson Jr., Lowry Markkanen, Keontae George, and Darren Peterson are stars, or Ace Bailey are stars. That's what they're hoping, that they have 4 stars and then another guy. So you just got to find a serviceable player. You're right.
All right, stay tuned. We'll have more for you coming up next. It is the Jake and Ben Show, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you may not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Make game day yours. Tickets, food and drinks, stats, and streaming. Everything you need is in the Utah Mammoth app. Download today and make game night easy. Download on both Android and iPhone. Tusk Top.
With the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Hey, this is for Jake and Ben. This is Nate. I was just thinking, what do you think the chances are that if the Jazz knew they were losing Walker, they were making this trade, what the chances are you think that they will have took Cameron Boozer over Darren Peterson? Don't get me wrong, I'm super excited for Darren Peterson. At the same time, I just thought about this and slightly curious what your thoughts are.
There you go. Shout out to Nathan for sending in that voicemail. You can do the same if you have any thoughts, any funny stuff, whatever you want to send in. You can go to the KSL Sports app, go to the voicemail feature, and leave us a message. Ben, my opinion on that comment is that it would not have affected the draft in the slightest. One, Cameron Boozer isn't really a big. He's not a center.
No, you could have played him at the 4, but the truth is, like, just because you have Cam Boozer doesn't mean it's easier to play Jaren at the 5. Jaren is fundamentally flawed as a 5. He doesn't rebound.
Yeah,
and
that's not his position.
His other problem is he gets into foul trouble way too easily. So if he's having to guard other 5s, he's going to be in foul trouble the entire game.
Yeah, it's like Lowry. Lowry's 7 feet tall, yeah, but his position isn't center.
Correct. So I thought about this as soon as the Jazz made this trade. I kind of thought, I wonder if that would have changed anything. And ultimately, I decided no.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so. First of all, the Jazz knew this was a possibility. Jazz knew they could lose Walker Kessler and still chose Darren Peterson.
I think Darren Peterson was their dude. I think he was their guy.
Yeah.
And honestly, we talk about using need to determine draft pick. I don't think they're doing that at number 2. I really don't.
No.
Now, would they have picked, if they were picking number 23, might have they taken a swing at a big stiff because they were worried about losing Walker? That I would see more logic to it, but not with the second pick.
I was a little surprised the Jazz didn't trade into the second round to find a center. Now, I can say that, and the Jazz can say, I'll tell you why. There was nobody good enough to trade to the second round for. Like, they spend millions of dollars scouting all these players, and they can say, well, a second-round pick is worth this much, and we didn't want to trade 2 future firsts to get into this draft to get Henry Visar from North Carolina, as far as second-round centers go. I thought, just as an insurance policy, that's a little bit like taking a quarterback in the 5th or 6th round that NFL teams do, even if they don't need one, just to say, hey, if it works out, great. I had wondered if they would do that. Clearly, they didn't. Now, in retrospect, with Walker not being here, would they have liked to have maybe another young body who's not Yusuf Nurkic and Jackson Hayes to play for 15 minutes a night on a 2-way contract? Maybe. And that might be how their perspective or strategy could have changed, but I don't think you change at 2 or, at the number 2 overall pick. You just got to get the best player.
Absolutely, and you hope it's a star. I know the number 2 pick doesn't always turn out to be a star, but if you're picking at 2, you're hoping you're landing a franchise dude.
Hall of Famer. That's the goal.
And you say the same thing, actually, about the 5th pick the year before. I mean, Ace Bailey has a long way to go. So does Darren Peterson, for that matter, getting a Hall of Fame. But I think if you're picking at the top 5 and you're picking need at all, then you're making a mistake.
Huge mistake.
You got to find...
Unless it's just a disaster draft, which, 2024 was a disaster draft.
Is that the Rizzo Shade draft?
Yeah.
Rough.
Yes.
But I don't think that's this draft. And I don't think it's...
No,
Darren Peterson. And by the way, to Nathan's point, I think I think Cameron Boozer is going to be a fine player, but he and Walker don't play the same position. I don't think that one would have affected the other. And Cameron Boozer is certainly not a rim protector.
And long term, it's just Triple J's not a center. Just long term, he can play it for spot minutes. He might close games at the 5 in a lot of games this year. It's not his best position. It's not where he should be. You're going to wear him out if he does.
I'm telling you, Drummond's their guy. They need to go get Andre Drummond.
Okay.
I just saw a quote from him. He said he's moving like he's in his 20s.
Great. What part of his 20s?
Does it matter?
It's better than his 40s, where he is now.
He's not quite to his 40s.
No, he was like 17 when he got drafted to UConn.
I can't remember. That sounds right. But no, he
was
just
a baby when he got drafted.
He just needs to be heavy. That should be the Jazz strategy at center going forward. Just be heavy.
Heavies.
Be as heavy as you possibly can be.
Yeah, he's only 32. He's been in the NBA forever, and Andre Drummond's 32. Well, don't say I feel like I'm in my 20s. You just left your 20s.
Well, I could be misquoting.
Okay.
He had something like that out there. Part of the quote. Part of the quote. I should go back and find this, but he said he regrets taking less money to go to somewhere because he just got pigeonholed as a vet minimum guy, and he was talking about how he's in the best shape of his life, which is what all athletes say, but that he feels like he's pigeonholed in that area because he got that stigma, which is a thing. Who was it? Jeff Green, who bounced around to like 15 different teams over 15 years, signing all these like minimum deals because he got pegged as a vet minimum guy.
Once you sign it, you can't get off of it. Kevin Love is going to sign a vet minimum deal, which, by the way, the Jazz could still sign Kevin Love, and he is your third center.
Well, he's not a center either, but
he's not. No, but he comes in and does a little rebounding.
But there is something to that. If you sign a vet minimum deal, all of a sudden you're a vet minimum guy for the rest of your career. And Drummond was complaining about that because he's saying, I'm way better than that now, which I don't know if that's true. He is huge.
Yes, he is. Large body.
Steven Adams. Go get somebody huge.
But, where the Jazz are today is not where the Jazz plan to be with their center rotation going forward. Now, maybe they draft somewhere next year. Like, suddenly, this was not the case this last year for the Jazz. It was kind of weird. The Jazz were in a weird spot. There was no area of need for the Jazz. They kind of had decent solutions at every position. They didn't have great solutions at every position. They kind of had decent solutions at every position. Suddenly, the Jazz have a very clear and obvious need. The Jazz need a center.
Yep.
That is very obvious now going forward. I am pretty skeptical they're going to find one now because nobody else could find one.
There's nobody out there, yeah.
If there was another option, the Lakers would have gone and taken that other option. If Jared Allen was available or Miles Turner was available or whoever was a better option and available, they might have done it. I wonder if the Jazz would have gone after Mitchell Robinson had he not signed with the Celtics this morning. That's a better option than Jackson Hayes, but maybe they didn't want to commit 3 years and $45 million to a player. It's about a 15 AAV, by the way. But I maybe the Jazz just want to say, hey, let's just be patient, find the right guy. And by the way, Jazz fans, the right guy will present himself because teams get expensive. Teams want to get under tax aprons. Teams want to get off of contracts. Teams want to get future draft picks. And the Jazz have the ability to facilitate all of that now.
Fun fact, this is from StatMuse. The Lakers traded away more first-round picks for Walker Kessler than they did for Luka Doncic.
Correct. It's just malpractice by Dallas. But as we have been talking about, other than the one dumbest front office member of all time, what was our guy in Dallas? What was his name?
Oh, Nico Harrison.
Nico Harrison. Other than Nico, Rob Pelinka has been on an unbelievable run of stinkers for a while. Had he not absolutely suckered Nico, because Nico was, for whatever reason, was in love with Anthony Davis and hated Luka Doncic, we would be looking at this Lakers team like a total disaster. I mean, you would be talking about 42-year-old LeBron James signing another deal because they wouldn't have had Luka to turn to. They wouldn't have had somebody to turn to. I don't think there was – it wasn't like, well, if we don't get Luka, we'll pivot to the next guy. In fact, they would have been going all in on Jaylen Brown right now. They would have been trying to get Jaylen Brown for the picks they just gave up for Walker and signing him into space. That would have been their best option. By the way, I'm not convinced that's not a better option. as we look at the values of players going forward, Luka is going to get more MVP votes in his career than Jalen. I do wonder about guys who don't play defense.
Yeah, which Jalen does.
Jalen does. Jalen plays every single game, which is awesome, and does play defense, and is probably just as weird in your locker room as Luka is.
I would consider taking Jalen over Luka, but I'm also not that big a fan of Luka.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really just me. Yeah, they would be in an interesting spot. I'm trying to run through who are honestly the worst general managers ever, or at least in recent memory.
Everyone in Chicago post Michael Jordan.
Yeah, the Paxson, Garpax
Yeah.
era. Who was our guy? We talked to somebody from Washington 2 weeks ago who brought up the longtime GM there. Who was it? Grunfeld?
Yeah, Ernie.
Ernie Grunfeld. He was a disaster. Who was the Hall of Fame player that was the Clippers GM forever and was just awful?
Atrocious.
God, why am I forgetting it now? Of course, Kevin McHale.
But ran him into the ground. Oh, what was his name?
I know.
Did he play for the Lakers? He was the forward for the Lakers. Anyways, I'll look it up. Yeah, who did Kevin O'Connor pants with the Nets?
Oh, Billy King.
Billy King.
Billy King. There's a really good one.
Yeah.
I'd throw Boy Wonder in there right now. I think
Brad
Stevens is really
got
struggling.
Some real questions.
He just sold Jaylen Brown for pennies on the dollar just to get him out of the locker room because they poisoned it so badly.
Yeah.
And I say they because it's a two-way street. Jaylen Brown will get probably the bad rap, but, there's both sides to every story.
Yeah, there are. Yeah. And you know what? It's nice to find him. Was it Baylor? Was it Elgin Baylor?
Yes, Elgin Baylor.
Yeah.
Apparently the nicest guy ever. Terrible general manager.
Maybe the most underrated player of all time in NBA history, but a bozo is a GM.
Dude, our guy Vlade Dottie has got to be up there.
Yeah, Vlade did but
Vlade
Vlade was not left to his own devices very long. Kevin McHale, not left to his devices.
I mentioned
very
Kevin
long.
McHale.
Oh, did you? Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
Vlade, though, may have had one of the worst draft blunders of all time.
Mm-hmm. Not drafting a fellow countryman who you have particular insight on to take DeAndre Ayton.
No, they didn't take DeAndre Ayton.
Oh, no, they took somehow worse.
Marvin Bagley.
Somehow they got Marvin Bagley worse than DeAndre Ayton. The only player in that draft worse.
Part of the reason they hired Vlade was because he was from Serbia. And knew Luka. Part of the reason that the Phoenix Suns hired Igor Kokoshkov was because he coached Luka. And then they passed on him. So you got to put Vlade up there. I don't know. I'm curious. Maybe this is good for the voicemails. Who are the worst general managers? Who are the worst front office general managers of all time? I feel like we're missing a bunch.
Elgin Baylor was
he was an absolute disaster. And in fact, you could argue that Sterling kept him because he was a disaster, and Sterling didn't want to be any good.
Yeah. I mean, Arturas Karnisovas, who was just running the Bulls during just a decade of mediocrity.
He wasn't there 10 years, though, was he?
No, he probably wasn't quite there that long. Looks like 2020 to now, which is not that long. It's 6 seasons. But they just never did it. I mean, they never made trades. They never did anything to try and get better. They just kind of sat on what they had forever and were atrocious. So, some bad ones out there. And you know what? I had kind of had this thought.
Oh, got to go Kobe Altman?
Yeah. Well,
he was bad in Cleveland, and he was bad with with New Orleans.
No, Kobe Altman is in Cleveland.
Is in Cleveland?
Now.
No, who am I thinking of? The Kobe Altman's predecessor. Kobe's not that great either.
Yeah.
But what was his name? Who just got fired from New Orleans 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, Ben! I shouldn't put you in these.
No, you're right. I know his name.
Positions.
Griffin.
Yes,
David Griffin.
David Griffin. Terrible.
I had this thought driving in.
Daryl Morey. Got to put that in there.
I think Dennis Lindsey was a pretty good general manager. Like Dennis, or executive, I should say.
He wasn't a
president of
failure.
Basketball ops. No, by no means. He was not the worst. He was not a guy who came in and got suckered. He made some very clear mistakes, I thought. Didn't nail all of his decisions. Made some very good draft picks in Rudy and Donovan, and had some flawed areas otherwise. I do think right now the Jazz have a better front office than they did. I think Austin, Danny, and Justin is better than
Dennis and Justin.
Dennis and Justin.
And David Morway.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. But you know what? And I think Austin is not getting his due because everybody just talks about his old man. So I want to be careful because I do think Austin has been empowered to do a good job there. But saying that Danny Ainge is a better front office guy than Dennis Lindsey, yeah, that's not even an insult
Not
to
a hot
Dennis.
take. Right.
That's
No,
not
it's
even.
not.
That's not even. Dennis could hear you say that, and he's not going to come away being like, "Oh, that
Right.
Ben."
Again, I honestly wonder why Danny Ainge is not in the Hall of Fame.
He should
Because
be.
of what he's done as a general manager, has somewhat revolutionized kind of how the general manager position is run. He helped bring the Celtics back to relevancy after a pretty quiet 90s, got them a title in 2008, built the team that ended up winning the title with Tatum and Brown. Drafting those guys was pretty revolutionary, the trades he made to get them.
Yeah, no, the smartest thing Ryan Smith ever did was hire Danny Ainge. Yeah. I mean, I've been saying that for years. You hire not only a great front office person, but the byproduct is you can't boss Danny Ainge around.
Correct. You don't have to love everything Danny does. It's pretty hard to argue with his resume.
Right. And again, I don't want to ignore Austin Ainge and Justin Zanuck, who are very much empowered to do the job. But if you're measuring front offices, I would agree with you. And again, I don't even think that's an insult to Dennis Lindsey and company.
Yep.
No, savvy move. Today was a good day for the Jazz. And then you look at that Jaylen Brown trade, and you go, okay.
Yeah. This was a pill that I don't think the Jazz were excited to swallow. But it's way better than the alternative.
Yep.
I truly believe that.
Stay tuned. We have voicemails, more of them, coming up next. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Not only do these guys give you the best Jazz coverage in the market, they've got you covered with the Mammoth, the Cougars, the Utes, and the Aggies. This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Two niggas on the airways, talking sports. They got him made Jackson on soul. Loves his tie guy, Ben's got style with his scarf. Oh my.
Jake and Ben, I'm retroactively listening to Hot Take Tuesday. I've got one sort of similar to Ben's peanut butter take. Ketchup really ought to be outlawed. Anything that you put ketchup on, burgers, fries, eggs, there is a better sauce or condiment that you can use instead. I'm sick of ketchup. I want it gone.
Pretty sure it's Andersley, not Andersley, Christian, you non-puck knower. The one thing I do know about Andersley is that he probably has the most massive quads in the NHL, which probably equates to a sure thing Stanley Cup Finals appearance. All right, maybe I was wrong. It might be Andersley. Sorry, Christian.
This is messages for Jake and Ben. My name is Jaden. I'm a listener from the future, so sorry if this is old news. But I gotta say, I think you guys are way too rough on poor Diana. Using her connections to get out of a ticket, I don't have any problem with that. If I were in her place, I would do the same thing, plus probably made that cop's day. I think you guys are way too rough on her for that. I mean, I don't have a problem with all the other stuff, but for that, no, I think she did a great job. I would do that same thing, and so would you.
Jake, Ben, Harley here, and I just want to wish you both and everyone out there at home or on the road a happy Bobby Bonilla Day, right? Hope that guy enjoys his 1 point whatever million today.
Gentlemen, how can you not draft Thomas Jefferson? Holy cow. He wrote the freaking Constitution and the Declaration of Independence. Utterly shameful, gentlemen. Holy cow.
I got to give a shout out to the newest nickname, at least it's the first time I've heard it, Vladi Dottie. Vladi Divac. Love you guys. Good times.
All right, man, that was a lot. Love it. Shout out to Ryan E., Ryan V., Jaden H., Harley, David H., and Ryan V. Did I miss anybody? We had a lot of Ryans there.
And Ryan H.
And Ryan H. Ryans across the board. Thanks for sending in voicemails. We really appreciate it. We brought up Thomas Jefferson as somebody we both considered drafting. Yeah, Thomas Jefferson was amazing.
Yeah. Kind of polarizing. Some people, in his day, he was not beloved.
Well, he and Adams were on opposite sides, but still managed to be good friends, which I think is a message that we can all use.
Agreed.
Apparently,
you didn't draft John Adams either.
I didn't. No, we did not draft John.
No one likes John Adams.
Apparently, he wasn't well liked when he was around, although he is just as influential and brilliant as the rest of them. But
early
apparently
on,
he has
the decisions you make are going to matter a lot.
Less charisma. He was like a defense attorney. He defended the shooters at the Boston Massacre, even though they were on the other side of the issue, which is fairly interesting. What else did we get there? Christian did pronounce the name correctly. So shout out to Christian there. What else did we? Oh, the hot take about the ketchup. I'm fine getting rid of ketchup.
It has its place, but it is overused. I agree with that.
I don't get ketchup on eggs. No thanks.
No ketchup means no fry sauce.
See,
So we
fry
can't get rid of
sauce
it.
is its own condiment.
Right, but if you get rid of ketchup,
there's
no fry sauce.
I understand, but like mayonnaise is in everything. So if some people say they don't like mayonnaise, doesn't necessarily mean they don't like all the other zillion things mayonnaise is in.
Correct.
Are you a Miracle Whip or a mayonnaise person?
I don't know if I've ever had Miracle Whip. And that doesn't mean I'm against it. I just don't know if I've ever had it. I didn't eat mayonnaise growing up, and I only recently started. And then, of course, we moved, because we're hipsters, into the Kewpie mayo. And I don't know what the difference is, but it is what we eat in my house.
Mayonnaise is incredible. Miracle Whip, not so much. Although I was forced to eat it because that's all they put on sandwiches when I went to Skyline. So if you wanted a sandwich from the cafeteria, you had to have Miracle Whip. It's just very sweet.
Ketchup belongs on potatoes, though. Like some breakfast potatoes with a little ketchup is really an A-plus combo. But I'm with you. It doesn't need to be on everything.
I don't put ketchup on anything breakfast. Or hot sauce either. But I'm not a hot sauce person.
And I like hot sauce. So it has its place, but not in place of ketchup and everything.
But I'm a fry sauce guy.
Yeah, big time.
I'm a Utahn. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think you're like required to like it, right?
Also, if you're not an idiot, yeah.
But put some
Tastes good.
ranch or some barbecue sauce on a hamburger?
Yeah.
Christian strikes me as ketchup on his steak kind of guy.
Yeah.
That's pretty mean. Of all the mean things you've said to me.
Oh, I forgot. You have the grill prowess. You take real pride in that. Apologies, Christian. I take it back. Jeez. All right. Action-packed 6 o'clock hour coming up next. Stay tuned. Jake and Ben, 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.